AJ Hinch today with a contract extension, and he's the manager of the first place Houston Astros, 2.5 games ahead of Oakland as we start play in the American League West. AJ extended through the 2022 season as the Astros take on a new team in this homestand, a 10-game homestand. Today the first of 4 with the Los Angeles Angels. The Astros taking 2 out of 3 from Oakland. Hi everybody, welcome. Todd Callis alongside Jeff Blum. Glad to have you back, Blummer. It seems like the offense is back lately.
It's good to be back, and I'm glad you gave me some entertainment at home because it was a lot of fun to watch these guys rake that baseball all around this field.
One of the guys who has really been a key contributor is a guy who wasn't even on the team on opening day, and that is Tyler White in our Shiner Light Spotlight.
Yeah, Tyler White's done a good job, and sometimes you get an opportunity from injury or you just swing your way on. And it's actually been both things that have actually given Tyler White the opportunity to stay in this lineup. He came up because of injury, worked himself in the lineup, got sent back down, comes back, but he has been absolutely lighting it up. And that's what you want to see. You want to see these guys make adjustments. Tony Kemp is another guy that comes to mind, much like Tyler White. But since the All-Star break, he has been the great white shark. And he might have even earned the moniker The Meg for the biggest white shark in the sea because he's been raking.
We'll have more on that celebration as the night goes on, but Tyler White has been joined by Marwin Gonzalez as 2 of the best in the lineup this month.
Outstanding numbers, much like the month of June that we saw Evan Gattis and Alex Bregman go off for 30 RBIs apiece. These guys might be competing for that Player of the Month number, but it's great to see Marwin Gonzalez. We know about the 90 RBIs last year, but it's great to see him heating up down the stretch when it really counts.
Astros swept the Angels last time they saw this team. They are hoping to get off to a good start in this series. First of 4 between Houston and LA coming up. And by Volkswagen. Astros kick off a 4-game series against the Angels with Justin Verlander on the mound. He looks for his 5th win of the year against LA. First of 4 between these two teams. And before the game, a big day here at Minute Maid Park. Welcome back to the stadium as Blummer, our buddy, and we're fortunate to work with him and call him a friend, AJ Hinch, gets extended through 2022.
It's a big deal. I think it's great for the Astros to extend him. Things have changed, but I think AJ is one of those more dynamic guys that works well in that clubhouse. And I just enjoy the fact that we get to hang out with him, hopefully for a couple more years.
Yeah, the combination of how he works with us, the media, how he works with his players in the clubhouse, and really overall, he's got all the facets of a manager covered, so it's going to be great to work with him for the next 4.
Absolutely. Kind of an interesting sight to see him talking to Mike Scioscia, where everything's swirling around him is he coming back? But A.J. Hinch is the man for the Houston Astros, and deservedly so. You get that World Series title, give him the extension.
Tonight is a special broadcast. We're going to welcome in Preston Wilson. We're going to have 3 men in the booth in terms of, actually a 3-man rotating analyst crew. We have Blummer in the booth, Preston out in the outfield. Welcome, P-Dub. You're going to be focusing on the outfielders tonight, right?
Yeah, I'm going to be checking out how they move, how they're setting up for plays, what kind of angles they're taking, and maybe even do a little base running here since I got a good angle from second to third. Talk about the routes guys take on the base paths as well.
You got experience as a player. You played on several teams with a couple of different managers. A.J. Hinch getting that extension. What is the difference you've seen between your managers and what you're seeing from A.J. Hinch doing with these Astros?
It's a little bit different age now because it's so much more analytics driven, and they have to take that into account. I played for Tony La Russa, I played for Jim Leland. Those guys were kind of feel guys. They kind of went against the grain at times. But, you know, A.J., the one thing that I think he does better than anything is he communicates. He gets these guys to understand, you know, what he's trying to relay. He gets the most out of all of them, and he understands how to push the buttons. He knows the guys that he's got to nudge a little bit and the guys that he's got to back off of. He's very good as far as managing the personalities.
All right, Preston, we'll check in with you throughout the course of the game. Preston will be in the outfield. Mike Stanton in the camera well next to the Astros dugout. He'll be focusing on pitching. And then, of course, Blummer up here in the broadcast booth with the whole game. Cole Calhoun will lead things off for the Angels, followed by David Fletcher. Mike Trout is in center field. Trout just came on off the DL the last time the Astros faced him. And now Justin Upton comes off the DL today. No Albert Pujols as he goes on the DL. Shohei Ohtani DHs. Andrelton Simmons at short. Francisco Arcia behind the plate batting 7th. Taylor Ward at 3rd, and Caleb Cowart is at first base.
Justin Verlander will be making his last start here in the month of August, probably to his delight, because it has not been good for him on the season. Overall, numbers are fantastic. He is cranking up the innings, getting closer to that 200 mark, and also just behind Garrett Cole with those 229 strikeouts. But in the month of August, 3-2 with the 5.33. He'd like to finish strong and get things going in September, where he's been very good in his career.
Starting defense behind Justin Verlander, presented by Xfinity for the Astros. Marwin Gonzalez is in left field, George is in center, and Josh Reddick is in right. Carlos Correa and Alex Bregman on the left side, Jose Altuve and Yuli Gurriel on the right side, and Martin Maldonado, the former Angel, who now will face his former team for the 2nd consecutive series out of the last 3. And he and Cole Calhoun have some friendly words before this one starts. The Astros taking 2 out of 3 from the A's. The A's are at home tonight, and they'll start a series against the Seattle Mariners at the same time as the Astros starting a 4-game series with the Angels. Verlander against the Angels. They are a team that has not had much success against Justin through the years, as Cole Calhoun fouls one back.
Yeah, I would expect Calhoun to be aggressive on the fastball early against Justin Verlander. Not very good numbers against him in his career.
19 strikeouts in that 3 for 34 career mark, and now Verlander ahead 0-2. Verlander heavy on the fastball. He'll be around the zone. The Angels coming out swinging tonight. Angels have struggled lately. They did win a game against Colorado on Tuesday night, and an off day yesterday that they spent here in Houston. They have lost 9 out of 11 overall going back to their last road trip. Calhoun sends one high in the air, and this one is way up there here at Minute Maid Park and drifting towards the crowd.
Having played in this stadium for 5 seasons and then broadcasting here for the last 6, I don't think I've ever seen so many baseballs hit the roof in one season as they have this season.
2 have been stuck up there.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Swing and a miss. Verlander versus Calhoun, and the results continue. That's 20 strikeouts for JV and 35 at-bats against Calhoun.
We got a pitching performance for you, and it's powered by Kubota. Powered also behind that right arm of Justin Verlander. 4 starts against the Angels this season. That is a 4-0 record, a 1.61 ERA, and believe it or not, that batting average under 200 against him. He is comfortable in Anaheim. He is comfortable on this mound against this team, and he has a great execution against these. Poor Martin Maldonado. I saw that coming. But he is a good matchup for this ball club. Right-handed hitters don't do very well against that fastball.
David Fletcher, the batter, takes a strike. Verlander has a chance to pitch against the Angels 6 times this year. The Angels will be back here as the final team against the Astros here at Minute Maid Park this season. That ball is lined to Alex Bregman, who makes the play for out number 2. We've already checked in with Preston Wilson in the outfield. Mike Stanton alongside the Astros dugout in the camera well. Mike, what are you looking for tonight? Verlander facing the same team back-to-back starts.
Well, I don't think he's going to change anything. He's still going to establish the fastball. He's going to come at him with the breaking ball. What you really got to pay attention to, he's given up some home runs lately because he's getting the fastball down in the zone. Needs to make sure that that fastball is elevated so those Angels hitters are swinging underneath it.
Mike Trout, one of those guys that likes the ball down, and Verlander has good numbers against Trout in his career. And he starts him off with a fastball that Trout fouls away. Trout activated a little less than a week ago, last Friday. Had right wrist inflammation that put him on the DL after sliding headfirst into third base. Came back against the Astros in that series at Angel Stadium, and Verlander ahead 0-2. Justin pounding the zone early in this one. That is the first pitch that has not been a strike tonight. 9 pitches in, still ahead of the count 1-2. While Trout doesn't have the overall numbers against Verlander that he would like, he has not struck out nearly at that same rate that we've seen with Calhoun. He's 4 for 32 against Verlander and has 9 strikeouts.
Velocity up early for Justin, too. Normally we see him pace himself a little bit more and then release some of that energy later in the ball game. But I think it gives you an idea of how he feels about this AB against Mike Trout.
Breaking ball, and Trout lays off. It was just below the zone. Verlander started towards the dugout, but Gary Cederstrom calls it a ball.
MD Anderson strike zone for you. Gives you an idea of how good that breaking ball actually was. It fools everybody because it catches a large portion of that zone at the bottom. You execute a pitch like that, you'd like to get the call.
And Verlander working with Cederstrom behind the plate has been good news for Justin in the past. Verlander has a sub-2.8 or sub-2 ERA with Cederstrom as the home plate umpire. And his strikeouts to walk with Cederstrom behind the plate is 48-4. By far the best of any umpire with multiple starts in Verlander's career, but he does not get that early pitch from Gary.
What are the chances Justin wants to go remind Gary after the inning that maybe, hey, we got really good chemistry here, guys, let's get it back.
We're good. We're usually in a good rhythm. You call strikes, I walk to the dugout. That's how we like it. Justin Upton's just back off the DL. He spent the minimum 10 days. A finger laceration that put him on the DL, but he's back there in the cleanup spot. Shohei Ohtani batting in the number 5 spot as a DH. I don't have to worry about Ohtani sharing the DH spot with Albert Pujols as much lately, as Pujols has gone on the DL and will have work on that knee done and miss the rest of the season, it appears, for the Angels. .96-mile-an-hour fastball, and up and down to the count, 1-2.
Fastball looks lively.
Before going on the DL, Upton was rolling along. 386, 5 home runs his last 11 games with 13 runs batted in, but never easy to come right off the DL facing Justin Verlander, and he strikes out on 97. Couple of strikeouts in the inning for Verlander, a walk and a man left on base. West Airlines. George Springer, Alex Bregman, Jose Altuve at the top. Carlos Correa, yesterday's hero Tyler White bats 5th. Marwin Gonzalez in left field. Yuli Gurriel at first. Josh Reddick bats 8th and right. And Martin Maldonado behind the plate hitting 9th.
Left-hander Andrew Heaney, last time he was on the mound, it was against these Astros. Didn't go very well. 6 innings, 8 hits, 5 earned runs. 4 of those on one swing off the bat of Marwin Gonzalez.
Oh, Heaney facing George Springer here in the bottom half of the first inning. And Springer takes a called strike. George had a really good series against the A's, 4 for 10, and also drew 4 walks coming back to the lineup after missing 8 days in between starts. First time he's played against a team other than the A's in a while, as he missed the series in Anaheim, missed the series in Seattle. Did get a pinch hit appearance against the Angels, but did not start any of those games. So he did not face Andrew Heaney last time out. Just missed the right field foul line as Eric Cooper calls a foul.
Andrew Heaney on the mound will give you a recap on what he uses on the season. 58% of the time you're going to see that fastball. He actually does a pretty good job of locating it inside to right-handed hitters and on the outside corner. Can have a little two-seam run every once in a while. Change up and a curveball. He will back leg that curveball to right-handed hitters.
Heaney allowing 19 home runs this year, all of them to right-hand hitters. Only lefty he'll face tonight is Josh Reddick. Springer, a little flare to shallow center. That's going to work. George Springer having himself a nice homestand, his 5th hit of this homestand in 4 games.
No Player Does More is presented by HEB. Alex Bregman, he has been a beast throughout the course of the season, hasn't slumped very much at all, but when he has broken out of it, he has absolutely exploded since August 15th. The batting average is at 420. That OPS is large because of the on-base percentage at 500, slugging 720. But he has been doing damage, and he's been doing it damage in big spots. And that.
10-game hitting streak for Bregman, 26 consecutive on base. And he has got the whole team buying all in on the dugout stare. Bregman's numbers against Heaney not so good, just 1 for 9, but seems like lately Alex has been hitting everybody and getting on base. 26 in a row and 86 out of 88. He's now number 6 in the American League in OPS. And he takes a called strike.
Good pitch from Heaney down. StatCast AI, powered by AWS, gives you an idea that Alex Bregman is very pull happy. He has talked about how he gets a little bit more on top of the dish, creating that outside corner, more of a middle pitch. But he has said in the past in several interviews that he is looking to do damage on that pull side. That means elevate and pull.
Right back to the mound. Heaney will start a double play as he goes to Simmons. Bregman hit it hard, but right back to the pitcher.
I don't think either of us imagined that we would say the 2 words double play as much as we have this season. But if Heaney's not standing there, that might have a chance to sneak up the middle, but a nice play by Andrew Heaney.
Yeah, the Astros will definitely, barring something unusual, set their franchise record for most double plays in 1 year. That was number 131 on the season. Oakland next closest in the AL at 110. Cincinnati next closest in the NL. They're also 110. Altuve chops one past third, and wow, nobody could find the baseball. Altuve's thinking about going to second. Simmons throw out at second base. Simmons tracked it down in shallow left after the ball ricocheted off Taylor Ward and then off Simmons. Called out by Ramon de Jesus at second. While AJ's deciding whether or not to review it, we'll take another look ourselves.
Tell you what, you talk about seeing eye singles, it's pretty tough to ricochet off 2 infielders and maybe turn it into a double. But good hustle out of the box by Jose Altuve. And on our Mattress Firm Supermo, you get an idea if he got in there safely or not.
Oh,
He's
yeah.
safe. Great hustle double.
Give him 2 bags on a ball that hit the gloves of both sides of the left side of the infield, or both guys on the left side of the infield, and Trout is having a word with Altuve. Those guys have such a great relationship.
Well, Jose Altuve leads the league in hustle. He might also lead the league in friendships. He actually shut it down a little bit and then turned it back on. That was incredible.
The noise you may have heard in the background were the fans seeing it on the big screen here. I mean, that to me seems like enough to overturn it right there.
I agree. Hopefully it's a quick one up in New York.
Should be Altuve on second with 2 outs and Carlos Correa batting after a hustle double. Gary Cederstrom is the crew chief and home plate umpire tonight. Ramon de Jesus, the other on the headset. He made the call.
Maybe they want to make real sure that they make the right call. You and I are easy to convince.
I thought this would be quick, so I'm a little bit more concerned the longer this takes. There we go.
Nicely done. He can go back and talk to his manager and say, told you I made the right move.
Two of the game's best, Trout and Altuve. A little discussion there after that play was overturned.
Just another angle for you. Altuve going in with that feet first slide, getting that toe on the base before the tag of Fletcher.
So let's see if Carlos Correa could make that overturned play pay off here for the Astros. Correa playing in his 18th game since coming back from the DL. Carlos 11 for 65 since his return. Had a sac fly in yesterday's game. Major league lead in that department. But also went 0 for 4 the rest of the way. He's got a 1-1 count here. Heaney, first 4 times he faced the Astros, pitched very well, but as Blummer mentioned last time out, it did not go as well. Had a 1.08 ERA in his first 4 starts against Houston. And he catches the outside corner. Correa down to the count 1-2.
That's that two-seamer on the outside corner. Nicely located.
On the ground, right side, Fletcher is there. And the Astros fail to score in the bottom of the first. A couple of hits and 1 man left on base.
Got a couple of good pitchers on the Astros right now, racking up a lot of strikeouts. And it's Justin Verlander that is the common theme in this. He matched up with Max Scherzer in 2012 with the Detroit Tigers to lead the American League in strikeouts as far as a duo. That is the last time that has happened in the American League. And this year it is Justin Verlander and Garrett Cole.
They keep going back and forth. Verlander and Cole, it seems, with every start taking over the lead. As the guys trailing them in 3rd and 4th are both on the DL. There is the updated number with Verlander 231 with a couple of strikeouts in the first inning. Cole picked up 8 strikeouts in his last outing to take over the lead. Breaking ball into Shohei Ohtani. It's 1-1. Ohtani did some damage against Verlander out in Anaheim with a double and a home run in that start on Saturday.
on changeups. Would go out on a limb and say you might not see a changeup thrown to Ohtani. Then he throws one right there, or is that the slider? A little bit of a slider.
Little wrinkle in it. Yeah. Yeah, the only 2 changeups Verlander threw the whole game. Ohtani ended up 2 for 2 on those pitches. The home run went out to center field. The double was just a one-hand swing that ended up down the right field line. But here JV ahead 1-2. Angels naming Ohtani as the starter Sunday. Mike Scioscia telling the media that before the game. So based on what we have seen the Angels and their handling of Ohtani in the past, he won't play Saturday, the day before he pitches. So we'll see him tonight and maybe tomorrow. And then a day off Saturday, and he'll be the starting pitcher for the Angels on Sunday. Sunday Night Baseball here at Minute Maid Park. On the ground, Altuve down to the ground. Nice backhand play. Ohtani with some speed is thrown out for the first out of the second.
Some of the splits on Justin Verlander: 15 at home, 13 on the road. Very good numbers on the road. And that win-loss record might give you a little bit of an indication of the offensive support that he is getting, even though here at home he's given up 18 home runs and 27 on the season.
Yeah, 10 in his last 4 at home as we welcome in Mike Stanigan. What are your thoughts on Verlander and the home runs he's allowed here at Minute Maid Park?
Well, I think there's a couple things here. One, as of late, his fastball at times has had a tendency to tail. And the problem with that, it's not the tail that's the problem. It's that if it's tailing, it's not riding. And I think that ball's falling into the bat a little bit. But, he's been pretty public about saying he really doesn't like pitching here all that much, and mostly because of the Crawford boxes. But on the road, Blum, that's a great point. He gets better run support. Everyone gets better run support for the Astros when they're playing on the road, just because they swing the bat better on the road for some reason.
I got a question for you, Mike. What is the mentality of a Justin Verlander? We know his stuff is good, but why is he so aggressive in the zone with all of his pitches in every count?
It's really kind of an old school mentality, which is I'm going to establish. He throws hard. He's got a good fastball. He knows it, and he's going to go out there and show it. And the reason I say it's an old school mentality, because a lot of the pitchers nowadays, you see fastball usage going below 50%. Justin Verlander, Garrett Cole, they're both guys that have a tendency. They're going to establish that fastball. They're going to throw it 60, 63, 65% of the time. And if you're going to get them, you're going to have to get them with the fastball.
This year you see the breakdown of the home runs allowed: 20 solo shots, 7 of them with a runner on, and none with 2 or the bases loaded. And establishing that fastball early has been something we've seen a lot of from Justin, as he makes his 34th start with the Astros. And he has really been tough on these Angels since wearing an Astros uniform, going back to 2 starts last year. 8 innings of 1-hit shutout baseball, 7 innings of 1-hit shutout baseball in his 2 starts in September. And this year, 4-0 with a 1.61. That one misses inside, and it's 3-2 to Andrelton Simmons.
It's interesting that Justin Verlander has had the success he's had against the Angels with that fastball curveball mix. He throws a ton of fastballs. The Angels actually hit 94 plus relatively well as a ball club. So it gives you a little more credit to Justin Verlander and how effective he can be with that elevated fastball when it is riding.
There's a pop-up. Martin Maldonado loses the mask, and he will put it away for the second out of the inning.
Some of the pitch usage for Justin Verlander in comparison to home and road splits. Yeah, there's no difference.
No, there really isn't. And what's the thing about it is he's going to do what he does. And same thing at home, on the road. And it's all about execution of the pitch. And Blummer, you were talking about how these guys, the Angels, they handle fastballs 94 and above. But it depends on location, and where Justin has really had his way with these guys is that fastball riding up in the zone. These guys, as a whole, are mostly really low ball hitters, starting with Mike Trout.
Great point. And that's something you've really seen in Astros pitching. Brent Strom is one of those guys that's really preached you can pitch up in the zone. Also helps out when you can get above 94 miles an hour.
Well, that's what I was going to say. And to Mike's point, he does what he does because he's been able to maintain that velocity late in his career into his mid-30s. And we don't always see that around the league.
King Felix is a guy came in around the same time as Justin Verlander. There's almost a 7 or 8 mile an hour difference between these two guys' fastballs.
His idol was Nolan Ryan, and Mike, we're seeing a guy who is at age 35 throwing as hard as he did during his Cy Young year.
Yeah, Justin's a freak of nature, just like Nolan Ryan was. I mean, this is not a normal human that's on the mound right now. This guy keeps himself in tremendous shape, but he's kept his arm strength and kept his arm speed, and that's what allowed him to keep that fastball riding up in the zone like that right there.
On cue, fastball for a strikeout, and Justin has 3 of them through 2.
The ballpark this Saturday, September 1st. Fans with a ticket to the game have access to the country-themed street festival featuring live music, Jackson Street barbecue, games, and more. Visit astros.com/barbecue for tickets and info.
Saturday night, still to be determined who's going to pitch that game for the Astros. Felix Pena will get the ball for the Angels in Game 3 of that 4-game series. Here's Tyler White. Would be Tyler and then Marwin Gonzalez and Yuli Gurriel. Tyler walked it off yesterday as the Astros wrapped up that series against the A's with a victory. And White's numbers on the year very impressive, over 310 now. He's at 311 with 10 home runs and 25 RBIs, all coming in his last 27 games. Special broadcast tonight. Todd Kalish, Jeff Blum up in the broadcast booth. Mike Stanton down by the Astros dugout. In the outfield, Preston Wilson. We'll have Preston join us this inning to talk a little bit about outfield positioning, because it changes stadium to stadium, I would think, PW. And here at Minute Maid Park, this is about as different as it gets. A ball towards you in center field, and Mike Trout is there to put it away.
Yeah, it's a unique ballpark. It's kind of configured where the left fielder, a lot of left fielders here play off the line more in the gap. They tend to pitch the gaps here. And some guys play deeper, like Mike Trout as a center fielder, plays a pretty deep center field. Some guys play shallow, but it really is, it's about your strengths. If you go back on the ball well, some guys like playing shallow, like Jim Edmonds. If you go in better, guys like Mike Trout, they're going to play deeper.
Mike Trout has improved his defensive numbers this year, but that is one area throughout his career, and I think he's really worked hard on it to try and get better, because that hasn't always been a strength of his.
He's definitely put in the work. You know, the numbers are better, and he's a guy that cares about every part of his game. And defense is something that's that want to work, because it's not always something that, you know, some guys don't want that responsibility of being a good defender.
Preston, I know we were talking to you a little bit about outfield, but as a hitter, when you are seeing that left fielder here at Minute Maid Park play that much closer to the center fielder, does that affect you at any point?
I mean, we've seen a few hits that would be gappers in other ballparks that get caught in this stadium because guys play off that corner. We've seen balls where the left fielder is diving in the gap and catching balls that I've been thinking right off the bat, if it's a different ballpark, it's an absolute double. But because the way they play it here, they're going to make sure that they force you. They're figuring if you hit it to left, it's going to go out if it's in the air. So they're trying to cut off those extra base hits in the gaps.
I really feel that that's the biggest issue, is because so many more doubles are hit on the road for the Houston Astros, and here at Minute Maid Park is because those gaps, like Preston is saying, are pinched. And with so many right-handed hitters in this ballpark, opposing defenses move that left fielder into left center field, basically.
Yeah, we saw a ball a couple games ago where Josh Reddick was closer to a ball in center field than Springer was. And it landed pretty much near where I am.
Yeah, Nick Martini hit one pretty much bounced over the wall right near where you are in almost straightaway center field, slightly skewed towards the Astros bullpen. But you're right, that was a ball that Reddick came closer to than Springer just based on the positioning.
I wonder how much opposing teams move those outfielders, especially on the corners, to get them away from some of the issues that the scoreboard can cause.
If you're not used to playing with a wall like that next to you, it can mess you up. I've seen some young guys in this league come out and have a lot of trouble with it. Don't know how to play it. They're not sure where they are because they kind of get lost in space out there. It takes work to get used to this ballpark.
And right now, Justin Upton is to the center field side of the scoreboard, but there are times a left fielder has to actually make a left turn after he goes past the scoreboard because it juts straight back to the visiting bullpen.
Yeah, this is a ballpark that whenever I came here, I tried to make sure I took a lot of fly balls to make sure I knew where I was on the field.
This one popped up, and Andrew Heaney will have a 1-2-3 inning as that ball is caught by Taylor Ward as Yuli pops up to end the second.
Who is the Astros' most improved role player so far in 2018? Some pretty good choices. That man right there, Tony Kemp, is option C. Tony Sipp will be option B, and then Tyler White, Great White, up there at A. Make sure you go to AT&T Sportsnet SW and place that vote. We'll bring you those results later in this ball game to our Chevy Stroh poll.
Hey, two of those guys were on together today on MLB Network. Tyler White and Tony Kemp, and they were phenomenal. They got every single question about the other guy right.
How about that?
I mean, White knew Tony Kemp's birthday. Kemp knew Tyler's favorite football team. I mean, they asked all kinds of stuff, and they went like 8 for 8 or 6 for 6, whatever it was.
That's creepy.
It was impressive. Well, that's two guys that have spent a lot of time together, apparently. But yeah, that was entertaining on Intentional Talk today. Tyler Ward will lead things off against Justin Verlander.
Wish I'd have known that at Caravan time. I was out touring Texas with Tyler White and Tony Kemp.
Yeah, they knew everything. 2-1 the count. We'll have an amusing look back at some point tonight of Tony Kemp in the celebration. You won't want to miss that, because Kemp got involved with some gum container and then ended up saving Justin Verlander's life. It's a long story. 2-1 pitch is sent to the wall in left field, and Ward will get into second base sliding with a double. That is the first hit allowed by JV. Ward getting a chance to play after making his big league debut just a couple of weeks ago.
Slider hanging up out of the plate, didn't get as much break as he wanted going away from the right-handed hitter. Tyler Ward promptly strikes it into left field.
Ward now 9 for 45 in his young career. And that'll bring up Caleb Cowart. Cowart this year, 64 games at the AAA level. Has a few more at-bats than Ward, and he was called up at the end of July. Ward was called up in mid-August. Justin starts him off with a strike.
I got a question for Mike about the breaking ball. Sometimes, you know, we see the slurvy breaking balls, but Justin Verlander is one of those guys that has more of that traditional 12-6. How hard is it to command that pitch, and how hard does it seem like it's harder for umpires to call that, and why?
Well, it is, because Justin doesn't throw very many curveballs. You know, his usual breaking ball is that hard slider he throws in the mid to upper 80s. That curveball's in the low 80s, and it's got more downward movement. And Gary Cederstrom, the home plate umpire, he hasn't seen that ball very good for Justin. He's thrown about 2 or 3 of them tonight that were good quality breaking balls at the bottom of the zone, and Gary hasn't called them. And, you know, with the fact that Justin doesn't throw very many of them, and, you know, Justin spends so much time up in the zone, I think it kind of just catches him off guard. But as a pitcher, you just have to keep throwing it. You know, you can't let external distractions, including whether the umpire calls it a ball or strike, dictate your game plan.
Hey, Mike, I got a question for you as well. We mentioned at the top of the broadcast that Gary Cederstrom's behind the plate, and Verlander has pitched some good games when he's behind the plate. Were there some umpires that you made sure you understood their strike zone and you pitched differently when they were behind the plate?
Most definitely. And not as much nowadays as, you know, Preston, when you and I in the mid-late 90s, you know, umpires, when you still had 2 different set of umpires, American League, National League, you know, you'd love to have guys that had those wide strike zones, east and west. You know, now you're starting to see guys call more high strikes, and so you kind of have to change your game plan when you're a pitcher. But yeah, there's definitely umpires you like to throw to more than others.
Mike, who was your favorite umpire to throw to?
Oh, man, there were a couple, but, oh, goodness, you put me on the spot.
See, I knew the ones I didn't like. I don't remember the ones I liked.
I understand that, yeah.
But I didn't want to do that to you.
Well, I don't have to throw to him anymore. Now it's okay. You know, the one you pick on now is Angel Hernandez. And Angel actually was a pretty good umpire, balls and strikes. He just always had such an attitude back there. John Hirschbeck was my number 1.
I bet he was.
Yeah, I could see that happening.
I bet he was.
And the thing was, you know, before you started Quest Tech, and the reason everyone liked John, and the thing was, you know, you guys as hitters knew the same thing. He was going to give the pitcher 3 or 4 inches off the outside corner, but he was going to miss the ball on the inside quarter right underneath your nose. So the hitters knew it, the pitchers knew it, and you just dealt with it.
Nothing like getaway day when Hirschbeck was behind the plate. I'll never forget Shea Stadium. I walk up to the plate, and all he says to me is, "You better swing it today, Willie." I was like, okay. like I needed help swinging.
Yeah, and you know what? The funny thing is, all the umpires said that on like the last day of spring training because everybody was ready to get out of town.
Oh yeah, they're flying commercial. They're not trying to be at that stadium late, and they didn't care about your batting average.
Verlander picking up his 4th strikeout of the game, getting Cowart for the first out, and now breaking ball for a strike to Cole Calhoun. But that is something we have seen change, as Mike mentioned, through the years, because now these guys are graded every night on their strike zone, and there is so much scrutiny now as we put up that MD Anderson strike zone like every other broadcast.
That has got to be one of the crazier things. It came in the tail end of my career when they started having the availability of the computers in the tunnel. So you could immediately argue a pitch, run up the tunnel, check it out, come back out, and literally yell at a guy and say, that's not what the computer said. But, you know, there's got to be a human element in this. But there are times where you work with an umpire and you wonder if they're trying to encourage the computer strike zone.
Testing it out?
Yeah. Like tonight would have been a good night. You say that sometimes. I think it was Ben Zobrist that said it a couple of weeks ago and got himself ran out of a game.
Oh, about
when you say
robot umps?
yeah. So you don't have your A game.
I think someday we'll eventually see that. It may not be for another 7 to 10 years, but I think the technology may be too good to avoid it down the road sometime.
I know.
1-2 the count to Calhoun. Calhoun struck out his first time up.
A couple of big hitters for Justin Verlander right now. 1 out in the inning, runner in scoring position. I only say that in the sense that Verlander has very good numbers against Calhoun. He'd like to get him, and then he'd like to back it up by getting Fletcher out and forcing Mike Trout to lead off next inning.
Mentioned Verlander chasing Garrett Cole in the strikeout race for the top spot in the American League. They're also, as a duo, moving up the charts on the all-time Astros list for strikeouts by tandem pitchers in one season. Maldonado and Verlander will get together to make sure they are on the same page with a runner on second base here in a 2-2 count on Cole Calhoun.
Always a little bit of concern when you do get a base runner on second base as far as relaying signs from the runner at second base to the hitter at home plate. Not sure if Preston's had opportunities. Well, I know he has. He's played the game of baseball at this level. You're going to try and find every advantage. You ever pick signs at second base?
Absolutely. I mean, they're trying to disguise it. It's my job to try to pick it up. You know, I don't think that's cheating. I think that's just being a smart ball player.
Yep,
I mean, you don't want to be blatant about it, but I'm using my intelligence to try to figure out what's going on to help my team. There's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah, when you're facing big league pitching, if you can find any advantage, and if the catcher's not going to worry about it or the pitcher's not going to worry about it, you've got them, go for it.
You know, some pitcher signs are really simple because when they get in that stress of being on the mound, they'll forget the complicated ones.
Yep.
So they got to go to the simple signs, and those are the guys that you get.
Ball into center field, pretty well hit, but Calhoun got under it. Springer will make the catch. Ward makes the tag. Taylor will get to third with 2 outs.
Watch the Astros your way by downloading the AT&T Sportsnet app from iTunes or Google Play, or visit AT&TSportsnet.com to stream on your computer. Log in with your cable account and you're all set. Available for those with AT&T Sportsnet in their TV subscription. Blackouts and territorial restrictions will apply.
I think it's fair to say, talking about picking signs, that Justin Verlander is as aware or as concerned about guys picking signs as anybody in that Astros rotation. And then you mix in the fact that Martin Maldonado behind the plate just played on this team earlier in the season.
Good point.
Justin's probably about as paranoid as he could possibly be. even though he pitched against them in his last start. Mike?
You know, guys, we were talking about how, you know, changing up the signs, the pitcher and catcher with the guy on second base. And when I was with Atlanta in the early 90s, Charlie O'Brien came over and in spring training, and we had the whole team on the same set of signs, which that never, ever happens. Well, late in the season, Greg Olson goes down with a leg injury, and Javier Lopez gets called up. When I say late season, I'm talking September, about to go into the playoffs. Well, Javi didn't have the same experience that all the other catchers did with the set of signs, and we actually had to change and go back to more traditional signs. But we had the whole pitching staff under the same set of signs, which that's the only team of the 19 years that I played, the only team that was the case.
Yeah, that's unusual, huh? That's crazy.
Yeah, it was pretty complex, and we had, you know, the whole month of spring training games to figure it out. And there were, you know, it was some trial and error at the beginning, but once you got it, it was very easy.
Don't tell me it was first sign after 2.
No, that was mine. That's what I usually used. And if I shook, it was just first sign.
1-2 to David Fletcher, and this ball is pulled foul. There's a good catch after it hit the rafter. That's a fan that knows how to play the stadium here at Minute Maid Park. And a fan of the umpires, too.
You don't see too many of those MLB umpire hats floating around, do you?
No, it's
a unique fan base.
Not a lot of people are coming to the stadium with Gary Cederstrom's hat on. But that's the case for that fan. But nice play off the rafters. Reliving the moment.
Oh, you got to break the play down afterwards. Tell them about the catch probability.
Verlander trying to get through the third inning. A runner on third and 2 outs. An opening double by Taylor Ward. A strikeout and a flyout. And he gets David Fletcher. Justin Verlander, 5 strikeouts through 3. And we're still scoreless. Games out of 25 at home. The Angels will be here for 4 Friday, Saturday, Sunday, in addition to tonight. And then when they're back in town at the end of that road ahead, it'll be the last 3 games of the season for the Astros here at Minute Maid Park. In between a trip to Boston and Detroit, the Twins and the Diamondbacks and the Mariners will all be in town. Angels are the only team in the month of August the Astros played with a losing record. It was not an easy month on the schedule for the Astros. And the Angels just fell below 500 prior to facing the Astros last time out in California, and they lost all 3 to Houston in that series. Andrew Heaney in his 3rd inning of work allowed a couple of hits in the first and then a 1-2-3 second. Josh Reddick had his 7-game hitting streak snapped yesterday. Trying to start a new one, but Simmons is there, and he's as good as they get at short. Makes that play easily for out number 1. I'll bring up Martin Maldonado. Martin was in the midst of a big slump when he was moved from the Angels to the Astros, and that continued for the first week or so with Houston, but that has now turned around. He's hitting .300 his last 11 games. Heaney worked plenty with Maldonado earlier this year as the #1 catcher. The Angels recently had Rene Rivera claimed off waivers by the Atlanta Braves. So they're going to 2 young catchers right now, although Francisco Arce is not young in terms of his age, but young in terms of major league experience. After 12 years in the minors, made his big league debut just a couple of weeks ago, and Jose Brasino is the other catcher now for Mike Scioscia. Maldonado being traded freed up the spot for Arcia to make his major league debut, and the former catcher Scioscia getting a chance to look at some guys without a lot of experience at this level.
No time like the present for the Angels, considering the way things have gone this season for them. A lot of injuries to that rotation early in the season really put them behind the 8 ball, and it has not been pretty the rest of the way.
Disappointing year for sure for Scioscia and Angels fans in general, with a lot of those injuries. Currently 5 games under .500 to start today's play. Maldonado takes one in the dirt. It's 2-2. Well, we saw Trevor Cahill in that series against the A's, and his home road splits are about as different as any pitcher we have seen in a long time. Andrew Heaney's got an interesting situation going on the road. He has made 17 straight road starts going back to 2015 without a victory. As Maldonado sends one foul. 0-5 this year in 12 road starts with a 5.37. Last time Heaney won a game on the road was September 2nd of 2015. Not only the longest active streak in the major leagues, the longest in Angels history. That ball's hit hard past the diving first baseman Cowart into right field. Maldonado with a line single into right.
It is time to get out and play. It is presented to you by Toyota. Big home run last night from the Meg. Walk-off.
Going Meg now?
Oh, yeah.
How about the celebration after?
It was pretty intense. A lot of good things happening, but I want you to take a peek over there.
Tony Kemp?
Yeah, keep an eye on him.
Throws the tray up in the air.
And then, oh no, panic ensues.
Justin Verlander's right there.
He just Dikembe Mutombo'd his own shot.
Nobody else was paying any attention.
He was having his own celebration.
He had his own celebration and his own moment of panic.
What's great, as soon as it went in the air, you could see his arms go out wide like, no. and then he had to go up and get it.
Tomorrow starter, 201 wins in his career, future spot in Cooperstown, and he might have been knocked out of his start thanks to my celebration. That was all going through Tony's head in the matter of a split second. But well done by him to save the day after almost creating an issue.
It'd be really clever if somebody was able to get the silhouette of that, kind of looking like that Jordan logo, where he's going up and swatting the gum basket out of the way.
It's all fun until somebody gets hurt by the gum tray in the celebration.
Not just someone.
Yeah, JB.
Yeah.
Well, Tony had a good time with it on social media, as you might imagine. Springer down to the count 0-2. George takes one upstairs. George with a single his first time up. Didn't hit it hard, but looped one in the shallow center field. Springer now 4 for 10 in his career against Heaney. But he goes down swinging here. Here's the celebration. Watch Kemp. Boom. Watch Verlander. Look out.
It was an immediate reaction. Gum toss to, oh no.
Hey, I got a question for both of you hitters. Is there a part of you that doesn't want to be the hero? Because you get beat up in the middle of the scrum.
Yeah, a lot of guys keep their helmet on for that very same reason. You know, it's a thrill to do it, but you kind of pay for it.
I mean, we see jerseys pulled off and, you know, necklaces broken, guys getting upset.
Well, there's not too many jerseys that make it through one of those celebrations.
When I saw Tony Kemp throw that tray and he recognized that it was Verlander, you could see his whole career flash in his mind. As it's coming down.
He did.
He was going up for that rebound.
Here's Bregman with a 1-0 count. He pops one high in the air. Might be playable on the first base side, and it is put away by Coward for the final out. So the Astros with a base hit and one man left on base. We're through 3 scoreless.
Knows pretty well, and he's had good mix. He is executing pitches very well. A slider, fastball up, another fastball elevated to Arcia, gets the swing and miss. Fastball elevated. We're seeing very good velocity from Justin Verlander. The curveball getting to the bottom of the zone. Might have had a strikeout earlier if Gary Cederstrom was on his game, but I want to ask Mike Stanton, are you seeing that late life that you want to see out of Justin Verlander's fastball?
Oh, there's no doubt. You see the swing and misses with the fastball up in the zone, and that's the key. What has been happening on occasion is he's gotten on the side of the ball. And when he was in Detroit, this happened quite often. You'd see that actual two-seam fastball run a little bit. And if it's running, which means east and west, that means it's not riding up north. And right now you're seeing that life at the top of the zone that has made him so successful since he's been an Astro.
Been fun to watch. He attacks, he challenges hitters. He's on top of Mike Trout here, 0-2 after a fastball and a breaking ball. Verlander not only matched Garrett Cole with 234 strikeouts with that last one to end the third, he also, combined with Cole, became the third highest total of strikeouts for a duo in Astros history. Only the Ryan Scott combo, Nolan Ryan and Mike Scott, in 86 and 87, better than the two this year, as Verlander adds another. He's now the American League leader in strikeouts, picking up number 235 as he freezes Mike Trout.
Locked him up with a slider on the outside corner, maybe a little bit off the edge, but a beautiful pitch against a tough hitter.
They're even now. Trout walked on a strike his first time.
I'm glad you said that. I was trying to figure out how to say it, but you just said kind of evens out a little bit.
Well, Verlander now with 235 strikeouts, so those two, Cole and Verlander, now third all time in strikeouts by two different pitchers in Astros franchise history, passing a couple of guys whose numbers are retired here. Larry Dierker, number 49, and Don Wilson, number 40, back in 1969. And they should end up with the all-time record before it's said and done, which is 503. Verlander ahead of his former teammate Justin Upton, 0-2. These two were linked a little bit in terms of trade deadline deals. Verlander said that did have an impact on him when he saw Upton was moved to the Angels prior to his decision to come here to Houston when he was acquired in late August. Said he figured it was time the Tigers were kind of looking towards the future and maybe not going to win right away. He saw an opportunity here, and it certainly paid off for Astros fans.
And at the time, Justin Verlander only knew one place. It was Detroit. That was his home. That's where he established himself. That's where he became Cy Young and MVP. But it was definitely a sign to the community and to guys on that team that it is now time that we are going to trade salaries. We're going to try and get salary down, rebuild this thing. And Justin Verlander, I think, recognized that he had an opportunity with his arm being so much better at the end of 2017. And then he saw the opportunity here in Houston, and he took it, and it paid off big time for everybody.
Now the count's 3-2. 6 strikeouts, a walk, a double so far in 3 1/3 innings. Verlander facing the Angels for the 5th time this year, trying to match 5 other pitchers who have beaten the Angels 5 times in one season. He gets Upton there. Strikeout number 7 for JV, and 2 outs in the 4th. Check out all the September events and promotions at the ballpark. The calendar includes Dog Day this Sunday, and Alex Bregman walk-off win bobblehead this Saturday, and Hispanic Heritage Weekend. Visit astros.com/promotions for tickets and a full list of events. Upton with 7 strikeouts of the first 11 outs of this game. Shohei Ohtani grounded out on a nice play by Jose Altuve his first time up, and takes a called strike. Ohtani sends one the other way, headed towards the crowd and out of play. Verlander pounding the strike zone this inning. Struck out Trout on 3 pitches, got Justin Upton after a full count, and now he's ahead 0-2 on Ohtani.
Wanted to ask Preston, Marwin Gonzalez is a utility guy, plays all over the infield, but I've seen him play a very good left field here in Minute Maid. I wanted to know what Preston thought about him out there in left.
I think he's a great defender. I mean, he's a guy that plays so many positions, and he's not just okay at all of them. Like, he's great in a lot of those positions. So when you have a guy like him playing out there to be able to make those transitions from one corner to the other, played center, all the infield positions, it's pretty impressive because it takes a lot of discipline to remember what your reads are.
Verlander strikes out the side, getting Trout, Upton, and Ohtani. Quite an inning.
As they take on the Twins and recognize first responders. 10,000 fans in attendance will receive a First Responders Challenge coin presented by Lyondell Basel. For more information, visit astros.com/promotions.
Bottom half of the fourth inning, scoreless. Astros 3 hits, Angels 1. Jose Altuve facing Andrew Heaney for the second time. Altuve with a ground ball that deflected off both infielders on the left side of the infield. Taylor Ward and then Andrelton Simmons, and Altuve hustled it into a double.
What surprised you more about last night? A 1% hit probability finishing off the game, or Jose Altuve striking out 4 times in one game?
Altuve.
By far.
Especially 4 in a row.
That was incredible.
And spots where you usually expect him to make contact. Yeah, that was surprising to say the least. A guy that's only struck out 3 times, a half dozen times or so in his career, to strike out 4 times and all in succession.
And you do want to give some credit to the pitchers of the Oakland A's, but at the same time, Jose Altuve is one of those guys that makes those mid-AB adjustments or in-game adjustments to be able to get the barrel to the ball, because we've seen him do it so frequently on good pitches and bad pitches.
And that's why it's so nice to see what the Astros have done here since Altuve's come back at 7-1 upon his return from the DL, because at times we've seen him look like his old self, and at times we saw him like yesterday where it didn't look like him at all. Carlos Correa, the same thing. Hasn't been.
Still waiting to see Carlos bounce back.
So other guys like the guy you just saw, Tyler White, getting the job done for the Astros. And they were 8-13 with Altuve out of the lineup, and a chance to improve to 8-1 with him back if they win tonight. Really cool to see Altuve, Correa, Springer, Bregman, everybody from the team. There were no seats really set up at the press conference for those guys, for A.J. Hinch's press conference, but they just wanted to show up and show their support for their manager. Everybody was there.
Yeah. And I think that speaks volumes to the man who is leading this ball club. And it wasn't, just a handful of guys. There was a solid contingent in the back part of that press conference room. But he definitely has a pulse on these guys as a whole, but he also has a very good pulse on these guys as far as individuals.
That ball in the left field. Upton will watch it fall in front of him for a base hit. Altuve 2 for 2 tonight with a double and a single. Well, AJ recognized that his team was back there, and here are his thoughts.
To the players that are in the back of the room, thank you. I wouldn't be here, and I certainly wouldn't be getting this opportunity if it wasn't for you. This game is about players. It'll always be about players, and to be your manager is by far the best job I've ever had in baseball and the best opportunity that I'll ever have. Without you and the work that you put on behind the scenes at the games, me as the manager, my coaches, the staff, the fan base would not be complete. You guys are the heartbeat of a manager's job.
AJ Hinch extended today to 2022 in his contract, and you could hear the true emotion in his voice there as it cracked a little bit, talking about guys that he truly loves in that clubhouse.
No, he's a strong family guy off the field. Married, 2 daughters, and I really think that a lot of that carries over into this ball club. He cares.
Correa to short. Astros will hit into their second double play of the night. Bregman hit into one in the first, and now Correa hits into one in the fourth. I would say it's amazing how many times the Astros hit into a double play, but I think we've already covered that this year.
Yeah, I'm tired of him.
Yeah. Here's Tyler White. White flied out to center his first time up. And when I say there were no chairs set up for the players, it wasn't like they couldn't show up. They wanted to, and they wanted to be there. They just sat there at the base of the cameras, hanging out, watching their manager get interviewed by the media. All the chairs were taken up by the media that was assembled for what turned out to be a big announcement today. So this year, Jose Altuve gets signed to an extension. General manager and president of baseball operations Jeff Luhnow gets signed to an extension, and now AJ Hinch. So this core.
A lot of players showed up for Jose Altuve in spring training also.
AJ was a little more comfortable with his press conference today than Altuve was that day. And there's a base hit. Tyler White, single into left field. Oh, just like in the first inning when the Astros hit into a double play, they follow that up with a base hit.
Some of the numbers on Tyler White, doing an incredible job in those last 135 plate appearances coming into this game. He was hitting .311 with 10 home runs and a .639 slugging percentage. Between 2016 and 17, 135 plate appearances in there, .254, 4 home runs, and only a .452 slugging percentage. And we see a lot these guys who are prospects get called up, get sent back down, called back up, and you don't see the numbers really translate from AAA to the big leagues. But I think we're finally starting to see, especially with Tony Kemp too, is another guy. But Tyler White is really bringing some of that prospect mentality or prospect, idea of what a prospect can do at the big leagues here to the show with the Houston Astros, and it's been a lot of fun to watch. It's been a lot of work, but I give him a lot of credit for fighting through some of those struggles early on and putting up some major numbers here in August.
We've talked about the big difference between AAA and the big league level, especially when your AAA team is in the Pacific Coast League for offensive players. And we have seen some guys come up here and struggle at times at the big league level, but there has been opportunity for somebody to take the reins with these injuries. And Tyler White's the guy, and Tony Kemp as well, that have come through this season. And it's good to see. He puts up quality at bats. There's nothing that would tell me that he's going to all of a sudden slow down. I mean, obviously everybody has a struggle at some point, but he looks really comfortable at the plate right now.
No, he's done very good. It's a unique swing path, but at the same time he makes it work. And that was one of the concerns early on for me in those first 135. Is that swing going to be able to play here? And he's made the adjustments. A lot of it's laying off pitches outside the zone. That'll increase your on-base percentage, but it'll force pitchers into the zone to give you a pitch to drive. And the damage that he does late is what's been extremely impressive to me. There's a new big three. Between Bregman, White, and Gonzalez in the month of August, you can see how much they account for this Astros offense.
Wow.
hits, total bases, and RBIs. 3 guys carrying a hefty load.
Those numbers are amazing, staggering, if you will. 3 guys out of the offense carrying that big of the production, that big a percentage of the production in August. Marwin fouls one back. Quite a month for Marwin, .330 with 8 of his 14 home runs. One of those 8 home runs in August was a grand slam against Andrew Heaney. Heaney giving up a solo shot to Jose Altuve and a grand slam to Marwin that last start. Marwin had the day off yesterday after having his 8-game hitting streak snapped on Tuesday. Take you back to that game in Anaheim. Last time the Astros faced Heaney was Players Weekend with those bright orange jerseys, and this ball was well struck.
Yeah, it was destroyed. Big moment early in that ball game, too.
Second career grand slam for Marwin. One left-handed here against the Rangers last season, and then that slam right-handed against the Angels in Anaheim. Marwin struck out his first time up. And he takes one down and in here, and the count's full.
And what's interesting about watching this ball game here at Minute Maid Park, because that home run that Marwin hit was the last time that the Astros saw Andrew Heaney. We're seeing the catcher Arcia set up outside a lot. That last pitch missed inside. In that game back in Anaheim, there were a lot of fastballs where you saw the home run that the catcher Rivera was set up inside. So the adjustment for Andrew Heaney in this ball game for me has been more fastballs on that outside corner. It also might have a little bit to do with coffee boxes.
Yeah, that gets in your scope as well. White on the move on this full count pitch with 2 outs, and Marwin sent it foul. Astros finished off with their series in Anaheim against the Angels. Still have 2 more series here at Minute Maid Park. The Astros do not have any more games the rest of this month or September west of Houston.
Good pitch to hit in a 3-2 count.
Tyler White's getting some work in between first and second.
Some 2-out lightning would be nice.
Tyler said it was the first time he's ever had a walk-off home run, including Little League, high school, minor leagues.
Wow.
So he was ready to enjoy himself after that home run yesterday. And a big spot, too. Astros, if they lose that game to Oakland, only a half game ahead. Instead, starting the night 2.5 ahead of the A's.
Good battle going on.
Yeah, really. Marwin 3 for 11 against Heaney with that strikeout his first time up.
Say B's going to mess with Tyler White's Fitbit. Just racking up steps.
Tyler hitting a 3-run home run in the win on Monday against the A's in that 6-run 8th inning, right after he had that contact lens taken care of. that Fitbit's getting a workout.
Yep. Friends aren't going to believe him.
So you're going Megatron now, huh?
Megalodon.
Oh, Megalodon, right?
Yeah, not just
That's
a great white shark.
Megalodon.
We're going for historically large and aggressive. The Meg.
Meg. Oh, he deserves to have a few nicknames right now the way he's been going. All right, Tyler's starting to wonder, at what point will my sprints end?
Yeah, right about now you got to tie your shoe, take a breather. Actually, Arcia's doing him a favor right here. He's giving Heaney a rest, trying to figure out how to get Marwin out, but at the same time, he's giving Tyler White a chance to maybe gather himself a little bit. Health analytics right now are going crazy.
To Shark's credit, he was out closer to second there than maybe on the previous 5 pitches, so he's not backing down from his lead. He is getting out there. Marwin continues to work a 3-2 count. Pitch number 12 in this sequence, and we'll do it all again.
Nice.
What's this do to a pitcher, Mike?
Oh, this is about as frustrating as it can possibly get. I mean, you don't want to give up a hit or a home run or anything like that, but you're still out there going, dude, do something. Put the freaking ball in play, swing and miss, walk, whatever. I just want to see another guy at the plate.
You get tired of seeing the same guy over and over.
Yeah, and it you know, with that frustration, a lot of times does come some kind of mistake out over the plate.
Do you feel that when you throw this many pitches, does it benefit the hitter or the pitcher?
I think it definitely benefits the hitter. The more pitches you can see, because a lot of times they're not just all fastballs. You try the changeup, you try the curveball, whatever it may be. And now all of a sudden, he's seen so many pitches, you almost feel like he knows what's coming.
Pitch number 13. And a breaking ball for a called strike on the edge. Quite a battle won by Heaney. Picks up the strikeout to end the 4th.
Knotted up at 0. We're going to take a little look at Justin Verlander and his pitch usage tonight. Yeah, I feel like he's done something a little bit different. Now, it's not huge, but he's throwing more curveballs tonight than he has in the past. Usually, he's just fastball slider, but with facing the same team back-to-back starts, and with them having a little bit of a success against Justin Verlander last time out, I feel like he's kind of changed his game plan here and gone with a few more off-speed pitches.
See the breakdown right there of the 67 so far for Justin. Facing Andrelton Simmons here to start the inning. Angels have a total of 2 base runners, a double by Taylor Ward in the 3rd. And a walk to Mike Trout on a very close 3-2 pitch that could have and very well should have been called a strike to end the first. There's that slow curveball for a called strike. It's 1-1. Justin usually drops in the slider around 88 or so, and that curveball can be 80, 81, or as slow as that last one around 77.
You know, every pitcher comes into the game with a game plan, and Justin has really bought into a lot of the analytics that come from upstairs down here to the players. But he also all pitchers, especially good ones, they go by feel. And I think what he's done is he's figured out he's got a pretty good curveball tonight. He's been able to get it down in the zone. Even if Cedarstrom hasn't called a few of them, they're still quality pitches. So I just have a feeling that he just, you know what, the curveball's working, so hey, let's go with it.
Yeah, Verlander likes reading bats and making adjustments where he needs to. Tonight he hasn't had to make many, with 8 strikeouts so far through 4. Struck out the side in the 4th, getting Trout, Upton, and Ohtani. He struck out the last 4 batters, but this is the guy who's hardest to strike out in all of baseball, Andrelton Simmons. As he puts this one in play, and that could be trouble, and it will be. Simmons with a little tap down the third base side for a base hit.
Just put it in your pocket. That's all you can do as a third baseman. A little nubber out front. Pretty good slider going away from Andrelton Simmons. Just enough to keep it away from everybody and turn it into a base hit. It's a laser beam tomorrow when you call your friends.
He continues to be a tough strikeout. He just put the ball in play there. Only 5 for 24 now with that hit in his career against Verlander. Here's Arcia, who struck out his first time up. Arcia takes a called strike. 28-year-old rookie. Said he thought about giving up the game at one point. Had not gotten the call up. 10, 11 years into the minor leagues. And finally in his 12th season after the trade by Maldonado to the Astros, Arcia got his shot. Facing Verlander here. He was down on the count early his last time, and he's 0-2 in this at bat. Justin has never struck out more batters per 9 than he has this season. And he picks up another one. 95-mile-an-hour fastball for strikeout number 9. Verlander has 5 strikeouts for the last 5 outs of this game.
And that high fastball is so enticing to hitters. You see it immediately out of the hand, and you anticipate that you're able to get to it. But by the time you can get the barrel to it, it is absolutely by you, especially with the velocity that Justin Verlander's working with right now.
Up to 238 strikeouts. His career high is 269 back in the 09 season. At age 26 he set the mark, and now at age 35 he has a chance to break his own record. He'll have 5 more starts assuming everything stays in rotation from here on out. Here's Taylor Ward. He has a double, the only well-struck ball of the night for the Angels. Double into left field. And another breaking ball. This one a called strike. One and 2 the count. Verlander has 8 different starts with double-digit strikeouts on the year. 3 of them in July. And he's looking for his 3rd in the month of August. He got him. There it is, strikeout number 10, ninth double-digit strikeout game of the year for Verlander, and 2 outs in the 5th. This week on Astros Bases Loaded, Alex Bregman will break down the stare. We'll reveal the origins of the players' weekend nicknames, and Justin Verlander gets charged $1 million for lunch in LA. All that and more on Astros Bases Loaded tomorrow before the pregame show, only on AT&T Sportsnet.
He could already afford it, but the way he's pitching this season, he's going to be able to afford many more. My goodness.
And this is an Angels team that just wishes one of these series against the Astros that Justin Verlander will not be in that rotation, because he has matched up with him every series, and this is the 5th of 6 on the year.
Yeah, uncle.
And if things stay as they are now, he'll face them again on that final weekend, the 21st, 22nd, or 23rd. Freddie Garcia, Tim Hudson, Steve Busby, Denny McLain, and Blue Moon Odom.
Blue Moon.
Blue Moon. Those 5 guys had 5 victories against the Angels in one season. You have to go all the way back to '68 for Blue Moon and Denny McLain, Busby in '74, Hudson and Freddie Garcia in '01. Verlander has 4 wins this year against the Angels. Chance to join that group, or see how the year goes. A chance maybe to set the new mark. 1-1 the count to Caleb Coward as Justin checks Simmons at first base. Justin has had 11 swinging strikes and 10 called strikes on the 4-seam fastball that he's used 50 times tonight. That one a little flinch from Cedarstrom, but no calls. 2-1.
Might be a little surprised to see somebody take that pitch. Seen a lot of chase up in the zone from these Angel hitters, leading to those strikeouts.
That one down and in is 3-1. Verlander 29th start this year, 34th as an Astro. And he gets a pop up behind the plate. Maldonado a look, but it's out of play. Tomorrow will be the 1-year anniversary of the trade that helped change the 2017 season for the Astros. Verlander becoming an Astro on August 31st at 11:59 and 58 seconds. Swing and a miss. Strikeout number 11 for Verlander. Back-to-back innings where he struck out 3. course, the Labor Day sale going on now. And by Nissan, innovation that excites. Hal Sutton, Jim Crane, and the Ryder Cup trophy were on hand here before the game.
Oh, I thought that was for me coming back.
That was also for you coming back.
Oh.
You got a picture with it, didn't you?
Several.
Yes.
I was pretty excited about it.
Ryder Cup about a month away as Yuli sends one towards the left field line, but fouls. He hooks one into the crowd. It's 1-1. Yeah, Plummer.
That's right. Took everything in me not to just pick that thing up and run.
Well played. Well played.
Perks of the job, I tell you that.
On the ground to second. David Fletcher is there, and Yuli retired for the second time tonight. Astros trying to solve Andrew Heaney, who is facing them in his second consecutive start. Last time he went 6 innings and allowed 5 runs on 8 hits, all the runs scoring on 2 home runs. Tonight the Astros with 5 hits and no runs as they bat in the 5th. A couple of double plays have hurt. Josh Reddick with a called strike. Reddick with better numbers this year against lefties than righties.
Hitting .284 against left-handed pitchers.
7 of his 13 home runs against lefties. Two and 1 the count. Heaney very similar to his pitch usage in the last start. It's that sinker and curveball combo, an occasional changeup.
Well, we've noticed that he's pitched to the arm side against right-handed hitters and just a little bit of the wildness to the glove side, trying to stay away from left-handed hitters. I want to ask Mike Stanton, is it tough to adjust when you're staying on one side of the plate so often and then eventually have to get to the other side? Is it hard to find that command?
Oh, it absolutely is. I mean, when you get locked into one release point, and then all of a sudden, when there's only, one guy from the other side of the plate in the lineup, you can struggle with the simple fact of just trying to move the ball over, 10 or 12 inches. And it goes same thing with the breaking ball, because a lot of times what Heaney does to the right-handers, he backdoors that curveball. Well, you can't really do that against Reddick because that's going to leave the ball hanging on the inside part of the plate.
Let's put Josh Reddick in a hitter's count.
Josh, the only lefty in the Astros lineup, as Mike mentioned. Grounded out his first time up. Heaney has thrown a lot of strikes. 50 out of 69 pitches have been strikes tonight. And now 51 out of 70 as Reddick fouls it back.
Well, I think between Marwin and Josh Reddick now, they've seen between the two of them about a quarter of the pitches thrown by Andrew Heaney.
Yeah, pretty much. Marwin a 13 pitch at bat, and now Josh extending that total. And Reddick draws a walk. Oh, Heaney issues his first walk of the night. Reddick a 1-out base runner.
And that's kind of what Mike was talking about as far as that slider is concerned. Tried to throw a good slider in that 3-2 count because it looked like Josh was getting onto the fastball, but yanked it across the plate.
I think Reddick is doing a great job just seeing the ball a little bit longer against lefties. Sometimes when you're lefty on lefty, those guys, they focus so much on staying in there because they don't want to fly out and get out in front of those breaking balls. I think Reddick is having the effect of that, and it's turning into really good at bats for him. He's seen the ball a little bit longer from the pitcher when it's a lefty.
Preston, you were a right-handed hitter and had to face right-handed pitchers all the time. What's the big deal of facing left on left as opposed to you facing 75% right-handed pitching in your career, probably?
You know, I always felt that way. I always felt like, you know, the righties have to face the righties, so I didn't understand why the lefties always, you know, why it bothered them so much. But I do know that there's very few lefties in the minor leagues, and there's not very many, because if you're a good left-handed pitcher, you're going to make it to the big leagues pretty quickly. So maybe they don't get to see that often. But I think one of the biggest falsehoods in baseball is that lefties can't hit lefties. They just got to work on it. They got to figure it out. Righties do it all the time.
Yeah, and I mean, Josh Reddick is the perfect evidence of that. There was a lot of concern when he got signed by the Houston Astros, who's going to play right field against left-handed pitching, and Josh Reddick has done a phenomenal job in making that adjustment, like Preston is talking about, keeping that front shoulder closed.
Ken Griffey Jr. and Todd Helton were the two lefties that faced any tough lefty there was. They never took the day off against Randy Johnson. Helton played everyday Randy Johnson pitch, and I had a lot of respect for him, because I always said, if I got to face Pedro and Clemens and Schillings, then why do they get the day off against Randy Johnson? Like, I didn't understand it. I still don't understand it. It's not bothering me at all, by the way.
no lingering effects.
Totally gotten over that.
Like you said, that could turn into a Justin Verlander situation where you face a guy 5 or 6 series in a row.
Maldonado making a bid, but hooks it just foul.
Whereas you could actually miss a guy, you know, like a Randy Johnson and things like that. Right. So I totally understand what Preston's talking about.
Maldonado single to right his first time up.
I just think it's an interesting question, just because I'd never had to do it. I was able to switch hit, so I never understood it.
One of the biggest arguments we ever had on a team bus was Cliff Floyd said, Randy Johnson ain't that tough, and he never faced Randy Johnson. He's like, I don't know what y'all talking about, and he did it on purpose. He knew he was going to get under our skin.
Stirred up.
Yeah, he threw about a 2-hitter that day. I had about 14 punches. I probably had 3 of them.
Cliffy saying no problem, right?
Yeah.
I just don't have to face him.
He's like, oh, man, he ain't that tough. The whole bus erupted.
That's pretty funny, though.
Strikeout for Heaney is 4th as he gets Maldonado, and now facing George Springer for the 3rd time. Springer singled and struck out tonight. Astros with 5 hits, 4 singles, and then Altuve ball that squirted through the left side of the infield that ended up being a hustle double. Breaky ball misses, 1-0. Todd Callis, Jeff Blum, Mike Stanton, Preston Wilson. Glad you could join us on this Thursday night. 1st of 4 with the Angels. Justin Verlander and Andrew Heaney locked into a good one tonight. Two 2-0 the count to Springer. Springer 5 for 12 since rejoining the starting lineup on Monday to start this homestand. Also, he's reached on 4 walks and a hitter's count here 2-0. High strike, it's 2-1.
How about the foul ball caught earlier by the young man with the umpire's hat on? The most interesting part about this tweet, how about the name? Angel. I know that Mike Stanton loves that fact.
Well, yeah, wearing an umpire's hat and a name with Angel. I mean, my good. I mean, that's a future major league umpire right there.
There you go.
Swing and a miss. It's 2-2.
So I have a question for both of you hitters. Now, who are the toughest pitchers you guys had to face?
Kevin Brown.
John Smoltz.
I love Smoltzy.
I'm glad you did.
Man. But I could not figure out Kevin Brown for the life of me throwing 93 to 95 mile an hour split fingers in the zone.
Yeah, with a 98 mile an hour sinker to go with it.
Just power. I mean, it was Charlie Morton-esque the way that thing came barreling through there. I could not square it up.
You know what I did against Kevin Brown? I looked away and tried to pull because his sinker ran so much.
Yep.
Like I actually made myself have a bad swing against him because you can't look outside and be out there because by the time the barrel comes there, it's on your knuckles.
P-Dub, you said the name John Smoltz with so much anger.
That's an American League East we came up in, man.
I would have so many more nice things if it weren't for John Smoltz. Like, there are things I could be doing right now if it weren't for John Smoltz. Like, you know,
Smoltzy had that four-seam upshoot fastball that came in on right-handers, and then the curveball slider combination was ridiculous.
And he developed that split later on in his career that was pretty filthy.
Yeah, and he's good at everything. And, you know, we had to face the Braves 19 times a year, and that's the closest place my grandparents could come see me play.
Yeah.
So they don't think I don't think they think I'm a very good ball player because that is still alive.
You know, when Smoltzy really got filthy is when he came back from one of the Tommy Johns and they put him in the bullpen.
Yeah.
He gained about 5 miles an hour, and all of a sudden he couldn't miss a corner to save his life.
Everything was down. Everything moved late. Everything had command. He had command at 3 pitches.
That's what I was about to say. Yeah, 3 pitches. He could dot anywhere in that zone.
Springer lost one into center field. Fans are excited, but it's playable. Mike Trout is there to end the 5th. Head to the 6th scoreless.
Outfield defense and what makes a good throw. Marwin Gonzalez has one of the better arms for outfielders in the big leagues, but it's not just all about the arm. He does a lot of things to make the throw right. He gets around the ball, gets his momentum going towards home plate. He uses his footwork. Watch the feet shuffle. And he's going to get that front arm pointed towards home plate. Good throw. Same thing there. He got up. Watch Springer. Watch Reddick right here. Feet set. Point that front shoulder towards your target. Throws on line.
No, I'm with you. Some very good throws, and it's interesting that Marwin, we think he has a very good arm in the infield, but he gets himself set. What were the keys for you, Preston, in the outfield to get yourself in a good enough position to be able to give yourself a chance to get that out at home plate?
Yeah, I wanted to charge the ball hard. I wanted to get to it because, to me, the best throw is the one you don't have to make if that third base coach puts his hands up. When you do have to throw it, though, you want to come to the ball under control. Then you actually accelerate as you're fielding it. Get your footwork, get your front shoulder pointed right at home plate or whatever base you're throwing to, and get a good follow through. Use your legs when you field and use your legs when you throw to get more on the throw.
In the infield, we talk a lot about using our feet to create a good hop. Is there anything in your preparation before the pitch or as the pitch is coming into the contact zone? Are you moving your feet, or are you on the balls of your feet? How are you getting ready?
I think of it like a defensive back or when you're guarding someone in basketball. As the ball's going through the zone, you want to have your feet kind of about shoulder width apart, legs crouched, ready to move in any direction. Be in your most explosive position when the ball goes into the strike zone, so that way there's no pause. All you have to do is read and go. I don't like seeing outfielders standing straight up, because if you're standing straight up, the first thing you have to do is crouch after the ball is hit to get going. So go ahead and be in a crouch, get down low, and be ready to be explosive.
Cole Calhoun batting with a 2-2 count. Good stuff from Preston Wilson on throwing the baseball. We talked about outfield positioning earlier. Calhoun's one of those other guys like a Nick Martini that they really shade the other way, and there is a big gap between Springer and Reddick in center to right center field.
Yeah, we've seen it before. If you draw a line right down the middle, George over here on that far left center field side creates that kind of center field to right center field portion that is pretty much wide open for Josh to try and track it down.
And this ball is hooked towards the corner. Long run for Reddick, but it hooks foul. Saw how much territory Reddick had to cover to try and get over there, but fortunately for the Astros, it was foul. Mike?
Yeah, the reason they're playing Calhoun, shading him to the opposite field in center field, and we're talking about Springer, is a couple things. First, Verlander's velocity. You know, what Calhoun just did right there, in order for him to pull the ball, he's actually got to get around it. But with the uppercut swing, Calhoun has a tough time getting the ball into the right center field gap. So when he hits the ball in the air, it's either down the line or it's to the left center field gap to the left field line.
Strikeout and a flyout tonight against Calhoun, and he just misses inside, and the count's run full.
But it's really important to have good outfielders behind Justin Verlander, because he gives up so many outs via the fly ball. Pitch just off the inside corner. Good take by Cole Calhoun.
Ball hit hard, and that's a fair ball down the line and right, and that's going to go all the way into the corner. Reddick will play it out of the corner, and Calhoun has a leadoff double in the 6th inning. Only the 4th hit in Calhoun's career against Verlander in 37 at-bats. 7 years ago, Justin Verlander won the American League MVP and Cy Young awards. That year in 34 starts, he went 24-5, and his ERA and his hits and walks divided by innings pitched, compared to what he has done as an Astro, 5 regular season starts last year plus 28 this year, they're not that far apart.
How about trading for a guy in 2017 and getting the Cy Young MVP version of that guy?
Age 35, he is at the top of his game right now.
And it's been a blast for us to watch.
Won the ALCS MVP, and those numbers that you saw were in his 33 regular season starts. Tonight is 34th as an Astro. He gets David Fletcher to pop one up. Yuli Gurriel puts it away for out number 1. Tony Sipp warming up in the Astros bullpen. Verlander started the inning with 85 pitches. He's at 93 right now. Mike Trout walked and struck out. Verlander's season high in strikeouts this year, 14 in Dodger Stadium in 7 2/3 innings. Also struck out 14 Yankees here on May the 1st. That ball's hit hard into left field for a hit. Being held at third is is Calhoun, as Marwin Gonzalez gets the ball back in. Trout with a clean single, double and a single in this inning. And the Angels have their best threat of the night.
It's almost a good thing that ball was hit so hard, as you see Tony Sipp getting loose in that bullpen for the Astros and on the line. So Cole Calhoun had to freeze at second base. Some first and third signs being given by Martin Maldonado.
Here's Justin Upton. Verlander had struck him out both times. Infield back. And a called strike.
Seen a couple of sliders flatten out for Justin Verlander, leading to a couple of hits.
Trying to get a swing on the high fastball. Eric Cooper says no swing. It's 1-1.
That's where they've been beating Justin Upton all night long. Finally able to hold up. I think he went.
Easily could have been a strike.
Oh, yeah.
First game back for Upton off the DL. Upstairs 2-1. Well, there's two lefties in the Angels lineup other than Cole Calhoun, who's already on base. You've got Shohei Ohtani, who's up next, and you've got Francisco Arcia, who is 3 batters away. AJ gets Tony Sipp warming up. See who he has Sipp warming up for as the inning progresses. Verlander's a guy that AJ's not afraid to let go. 105, 110 pitches.
That was a strikeout to Mike Trout. Slider on that outside corner. Looked like Justin was trying to do the same thing and get to that outside corner, and that's where that slider flattens out a little bit, catches the fat part of the plate, and plenty of time down in the zone for Mike Trout to go get it. That's where he is very good.
Beats Upton with that fastball. It's 2-2. Well, you know, Verlander right now looking for strikeout number 12 to try and keep runners on the corners and pick up the second out of the inning. Base hit right field. That'll score the game's first run. Justin Upton reaches out and singles into right to score Cole Calhoun, and it's 1-0 Angels.
Just went with it. Not too much thinking right there. That's just recognizing and protecting the outside corner on a fastball and going with it. Maldonado set up out there, fastball away. Just lay the barrel out there and go.
Oh, Justin Verlander's night is over. Sipp was warming up for Ohtani. He'll come into this game, and Justin gets a nice hand from the crowd after a fine outing. Semi Newport Beach. Gold medal, first overall. Named that Astros. Send your guest to @ATT Sportsnet SW. As Tony Sipp takes over for Justin Verlander with 2 on and 1 out in the 6th inning.
This is why Tony Sipp is in that bullpen for the Astros, to get left-handers out. 43rd appearance this season, the ERA at 1.99. Big AB for Tony Sipp in this ball game.
Facing Shohei Ohtani, who was grounded out and struck out against Verlander. Justin threw 99 pitches tonight, and A.J. Hinch had a tough decision to make. Sure, Justin felt like he could get through the 6th inning, but leaving with 2 runners on after allowing 3 of the 5 hits this inning. Will Harris starting to warm up in the Astros bullpen. And Sipp misses inside to Ohtani. It's 2-0. Andrelton Simmons is on deck. Sipp may be in for just 1 batter. 2 of the next 3 hitters are lefties. Sipp has faced Ohtani twice. He has allowed a double against him, and he's also recorded a strikeout against him.
Was a little curious what was going to happen right there. 3-0 count. Ohtani, is he going to just go ahead and try and get that fastball on that 3-0 count? Shows that Scioscia has a lot of trust in Shohei's abilities with that bat in his hands.
And he figures Sipp, who might only be in there for 1 batter, is definitely going to challenge him 3-0 and try and throw something that has a lot of plate in it. This time he misses inside, and Sipp walks the lefty Ohtani, and that will be the only batter Tony Sipp faces tonight. The bases will be loaded as AJ going back to the bullpen for Will Harris. 1-0 game, bases loaded, 1 out in the 6th.
Verlander is doing it again. It's been a rough month of August, but he came in here tonight and put up phenomenal numbers. We've seen that fastball with some late life. That is a good sign, but we've also seen a couple more curveballs snapped in there. The slider has been on point. It's just unfortunate that Justin Verlander was only able to last 5 1/3 innings. You see it, a 1 walk, 11 strikeouts, and throwing 99 pitches. He is still responsible for Justin Upton and Mike Trout. The unfortunate thing is that the offense has been shut down on the other side, but a great start from Justin Verlander, deserves a little bit more.
Absolutely. Very interested observer here with Will Harris facing Andrelton Simmons with the bases loaded and 1 out. Simmons 1 for 2, a little tap down the third baseline for a hit his last time up.
Tough situations to be coming in with the bases loaded. Will Harris making that 53rd appearance, has 56 strikeouts in 48 innings pitched. Cut fastball, 12-6 breaking ball, but we've got a guy on our sideline.
Ball hit into the gap in left center field, off the wall. At least 2 runs to score. Ohtani's being waved around. No throw from Correa. 3-run score. And just like that, it's 4-0 Angels.
2 of those runs being charged to Justin Verlander. But I wanted to be able to talk to Mike Stanton about situations that guys in the bullpen come into. And Mike Stanton was a left-handed pitcher, probably had the same situations that Tony Sipp has had. What is the mentality? How does it feel to come into a game on the line after you're backing up a guy who pitched a great game?
Well, a lot of times what you're doing is you really have to just try and simplify the situation, which means you go pitch to pitch. You know, your job really doesn't change according to how many guys are on base. Your job is to get the hitter out. And a lot of times, just like that, last at bat there with Simmons, is you have to get by the first pitch. And you know, unfortunately for Harris and the Astros, he wasn't being able to get by that first pitch. But you know, it's one of those things that if you pay attention to too much to what's going on the bases, you'll get too fired up. You'll have too broad of a focus, and you'll lose what your real job is, and that's to execute a pitch.
You talk about how important that first pitch is. Did you have an idea when you were coming out of the pen what that first pitch would be?
I think you have a kind of a vague idea, but a lot of times it's how you feel. You know, if you got the good fastball that day, maybe you go with the fastball. But let's say in that situation, you know, Harris felt like the breaking ball was the way to go. He threw it for a strike, and Simmons was able to put a swing on it.
Here's Taylor Ward, who was doubled and struck out. 4-0 Angels. 3 of those runs charged to Justin Verlander. At the end of the night, his line will nowhere resemble how well he pitched. 5 1/3 innings, 5 hits, 3 runs, a walk, and 11 strikeouts. And a frustrating inning for JV to see a couple of runs score after he left the game. Also, Mike, there's got to be a fine line too when you're a Sipp facing an Ohtani. You want to come in, the last thing you want to do is walk the only guy you face, but at the same time you can't just lay the ball in there against a guy who can change the game with one swing.
Yeah, it can be a tough situation because, yeah, you don't want to just let the guy just wear the ball out by you putting the ball on the plate. And, you know, in a situation like that, walking the guy isn't necessarily the worst thing that can happen.
Mike, with Justin Verlander and Todd talking about how the lines that he has isn't really going to represent what he did, and we talked about a lot of the starts here at home where he hasn't gotten the run support. I believe Justin Verlander is putting together a Hall of Fame type career. Do you believe that wins will have any kind of impact on his ability to maybe get in the Hall someday?
It will have some. Now, wins don't weigh nearly as much as they used to. And I think now 250 wins is what 300 used to be.
Tough outing for JV. He will leave with his team down 4-0.
Correa. And that leads us to our league leaders, presented by Houston Methodist. Alex Bregman has been very good on the season, especially good with runners in scoring position. It's one thing to go out there and be able to drive in runs. It's another thing to go out there and be able to do some damage and help this team out even more than just driving in that run. So that is on base percentage, that is slugging percentage put together for that OPS number. And 1238 is a pretty good mark in the history of the Astros organization. Just Jeff Bagwell and Lance Berkman ahead of what Alex Bregman is doing in 2018.
Outstanding company for Bregman to share as he leads off the 6th inning. Astros with work to do now, down 4-0. And Andrew Heaney, who has pitched very well against the Astros in 4 of his 5 career starts, didn't fare well in his last outing, but he has bounced back with a good one so far. 5 innings of shutout baseball. It'll be Bregman and then Altuve and Correa this inning. High percentage of strikes for Heaney, 84 pitches in, 60 strikes. Drops in the curve, and it's 1-2.
Alex Bregman doing a very good job this season, and he carried a lot of the weight while Altuve was out of there, but we saw some of the numbers slip. But since Altuve's return, Alex Bregman's hitting .484 with a 1310 OPS. 6 walks, no strikeouts coming into this ball game. It's been pretty impressive. But it brings up the question, can you protect the guys? What does it mean to protect guys? Preston, you've hit in a lot of lineups. You've had protection. You've not had protection. What do you think Altuve means to Alex Bregman?
It means that he's going to be the guy that they're going to prefer to challenge in a lot of crucial situations. It's pick your poison. Are you going to challenge the MVP, or are you going to make the guy in front of him swing the bat? And got to give Bregman credit. You know, he got the opportunity, and he's taken advantage of them challenging him. He's put together good at bats. He's staying with his game plan. He's executing. There's a lot of people who hit in front of quality hitters, but they don't take advantage of it.
Rarity right there with Bregman swinging through that 2-2 pitch. Alex had not struck out in his last 50 plate appearances until that strikeout. In fact, during his 10-game hitting streak, he did not strike out at all. Still has that 10-game hitting streak going, but may only have one opportunity left to continue that. Here's Jose Altuve.
Yeah, Preston, you want an example of that? Just ask Jeff Kent when he was out in San Francisco, hitting in front of a pretty good hitter by the name of Barry Bonds, and won an MVP for it.
Yeah. Yeah, and I look at when Brian Braun won the MVP, Prince Fielder hit behind him, protected him. And Prince Fielder came in 3rd MVP that year. My best 2 years were, one was in Florida when Cliff Floyd had a great year. I was hitting, you know, in the lineup with him. And then when I went to Colorado, I was sandwiched between Larry Walker and Todd Helton.
That's a pretty good sandwich.
Yeah. We got full. Yeah. We were serving daily.
And to your guys' point, Altuve now protecting Bregman this year, and Altuve, you know, gave a lot of credit to Carlos Correa last year when he won MVP.
It's a beautiful thing. It's nice when you can ride in a lineup and put a guy like Yuli Gurriel, Josh Reddick, those guys in that 7-8 spot. So it creates lineup depth also.
Yeah, you know, a lot of these individual awards, they have a team aspect to it. Even the Cy Young, Justin Verlander wins the Cy Young and MVP. Now, the bullpen had to come in and get him out of some trouble. That kept his ERA down. Same thing, with the hitters. We're talking about protection.
Oh, no doubt. Those 2 inherited runs that scored against Verlander, those go right onto his ERA, but he could have easily come out of there with a 1-run game in 5 1/3 innings as Altuve sends one to Trout for the first out. Excuse me, second out of the inning. So Preston, Cliff was protecting you as long as it wasn't Randy Johnson, huh?
Yeah, that was on my own.
Then you're on your own island.
Yeah, I mean, I actually hit behind him, but then Mike Lowell was coming into his own right about then. Derek Lee had a good year, but Cliff got on a lot, and sometimes
that's where your RBIs are.
Yeah, they would walk him and pitch to me sometimes. So
Yeah, I know as a pitcher, you know, protection doesn't always have to be behind. It can be in front. It can even be a hitter or two away. Because if you got guys on base, you're going to face the hitter differently than if the bases were empty.
Carlos Correa, the batter, has grounded out a couple of times, last time into a double play. Heaney's done a good job keeping the Astros hitters off balance tonight. Not a lot of hard contact against Heaney. Even the extra base hit was a ground ball that just found its way into shallow left field after deflecting off Taylor Ward and Andrelton Simmons.
Andrew Heaney, after a rough start in Anaheim against the Astros, getting right back into form like he usually is against these Astros.
No swing there from Carlos. He probably thinks to himself he's got as good a shot as any of snapping this road winless streak. He's got a 4-0 lead in the 6th inning. Has not won a game on the road since September 2nd of 2015 at Oakland. 17 starts in between. And he gets Correa there. Foul tip caught by Arcia. 2 strikeouts in the inning, 6 in the game for Heaney.
Minnesota Twins, and remember Hurricane Harvey 1 year later. During this 3-game series, fans will have a chance to get a Stay Strong t-shirt for only $10. 100% of the proceeds will benefit the Astros Foundation. Visit astros.com/HoustonStrong for more details.
We go to the 7th inning of a 4-0 game. Angels scoring 4 in the 6th as they sent 8 men to the plate. Caleb Cowart, the only one that did not bat, as he'll lead off the 7th. Cowart struck out twice against Justin Verlander, who had 11 strikeouts tonight. In 5 1/3 innings, and Cowart fouls one off the mask of Maldonado into the crowd. Will Harris back out there, pitched to 3 batters in the 6th inning. Allowed a bases clearing double to Andrelton Simmons, and then got Arcia and Ward to end the 6th. Cowart down to the count 0-2. Seattle has put up 5 in the 1st inning against the Oakland A's as they start their 4-game series at the Oakland Coliseum.
think there's quite a bit of concern up there in Oakland with that pitching staff falling apart pretty quick. Minaya, a big piece. Not sure when he's going to be able to return. Cahill.
Brett Anderson going on the DL. Well, they may get to that point where they see relievers as their opening pitcher. Let's try and get through the final 29 games of the year as we got a swing and a miss as Coward goes down for the 3rd time tonight. Second strikeout for Harris in the 1st out of the 7. Tonight the Mariners got 5 runs against Frankie Montas. 3 of them earned. Matt Chapman committing an error in the inning, his 16th of the year. Here's Cole Calhoun. Calhoun got things started for the Angels in the 6th inning with a double on a 3-2 pitch against Verlander. JV has dominated Cole Calhoun in his career, with that double would have come around to score on a Justin Upton single when Verlander was looking for a strikeout against his former teammate. Upton able to single into right field. And then Sip walked Ohtani, and a double by Simmons scored the rest. 1-1 the count. Another big crowd tonight on a Thursday night, getting ready for what should be big crowds all weekend. 30,371. Astros have had at least 30,000 for all 4 games on this homestand thus far. Calhoun misses the fastball. It's 1-2. Mike Scioscia usually allows Andrew Heaney's pitch count to finish somewhere between 95 and 100. At least he's done that the last 5 out of 6 starts, and has not thrown 100 pitches in his last 6. They have bullpen action going. Hansel Robles warming up as Will Harris makes the play behind the mound, retiring Cole Calhoun for the 2nd out. Tonight's Fan Cam is presented by GulloAuto.com. Kids enjoying themselves here at Minute Maid Park, looking for some offense from the Astros in this one. Heaney shutting them down for the first 6. Here's David Fletcher. Falls into center field, will be down for a hit. Springer will get it back in and hold Fletcher to a single. 2-out base hit for the Angels.
With that base hit, it turns it into a pretty tough situation right now for Will Harris. Anytime you got to face Mike Trout with runners on base, creates an issue. I wonder how many conversations Martin Maldonado is having throughout the evening, facing his old team again.
Continuous dialogue between Maldonado and his former teammates. Trout walked on a close pitch that could have been a called 3rd strike his first time up. Then he was called out on strikes on a 0-2 pitch that could have been just off the plate a 2nd time up. And then he singled and would come around to score his 3rd time up. If Heaney's night is over, the only 3 batters for the Astros that hit the ball 100 miles an hour or hotter in exit velocity. 2 double play ground balls and a ground out by Yuli Gurriel. Will misses the edge. It's 1-1.
So it's been a bad launch angle night.
Yep. And an Adam ball.
Exactly. GPS is turned off also.
Angels, we mentioned, did not play yesterday. They spent the day in Houston. Prior to that, they had a 1-4 homestand, and overall have lost 7 of their last 8 before today. Scioscia getting a strong start out of Andrew Heaney, and the Angels able to score 4 in the 6th. Now Will Harris trying to finish off the 7th. That ball's ripped into left field, but jumping and making the catch, the top of his webbing, is Marwin Gonzalez. Trout smokes one to left to end the 7th. 7th inning stretch time. Angels lead 4-0.
There might be power plays the way these guys have been going this season. The Astros' second walk-off home run yesterday, but how about across Major League Baseball? To this point, that home run right there by the Meg. 81 walk-off home runs are now a Major League record this season. There's still plenty of season left.
4.5 weeks. They're going to shatter that mark.
How about we reset the record tonight?
Yeah, I like where you're going with that.
Or we can just score a bunch of runs right now and get it out of the way.
Either way works. Well, the good news for the Astros is they don't have to face the lefty Andrew Heaney anymore. He is out after 6 innings of work, limiting the Astros to 5 base hits. Only one of them an extra base hit, and Hansel Robles takes over.
Robles on that season with 41 appearances, has 47 strikeouts, but walk number a little concerning. He can lose the zone a little bit. 21 walks on the season. 95.7 miles an hour out of that right arm. Change up at 90, slider averaging 88 miles an hour.
Set to face Tyler White, Marwin Gonzalez, and Yuli Gurriel. And there is 97 on the edge for a strike as he catches the inside corner on White.
Tyler White, amongst everything else, he's doing really well. He's been doing a lot of damage late. 7th inning on. 10 home runs on the season, 7 of them from that 7th inning on. A couple of home runs off closers and late ball games to help out the Astros.
White 1 for 2 tonight. Astros had 2 hits in the first, 2 hits in the 4th. But a double play was involved in both of those innings. Other hit came in the 3rd inning. Heaney walked 1 and struck out 6 in those 6 shutout innings. Jose Alvarez warming up in the Angels bullpen. He's a lefty with Reddick due up 4th if this inning gets to him. Also Chris Davinsky warming up in the Astros bullpen. There's the lefty Alvarez, and then Devo, who just was reinstated from the DL for the game yesterday, warming up in the Astros bullpen. Mike Stanton, Preston Wilson joining us today on this 3-analyst broadcast along with Jeff Blum in the booth. How many pitches, Mike, in general? Was it something that you worked to the point with all those games you appeared in? How many pitches would you need to get ready to come into a game?
Well, the number was only a few, maybe 10, sometimes even less than 10, depending on the situation. But the key was that my body was ready to go prior to ever getting on the mound. So when I got on the mound, all I had to do was get my arm ready. But I got my first big league win in Atlanta without throwing a pitch in the bullpen.
What?
Yes, Leo Mazzoni made an inadvertent second trip to the mound.
Oh boy.
They had to take Juan Berenguer out of the game, which he wasn't very happy about that either. And I came in through 1 pitch, got a line out to right, then went up underneath the tunnel to warm up in between innings. They pinch hit me in the meantime, and I got my first win.
Ball in the center field. Trout is there. Looking like being thrown right in.
That's unbelievable.
Yeah.
Did they just go out there and say, hey, give me the youngest guy out there? He's got the best chance to get hot fast?
Well, this was early 90s. We were all young down there, except for a couple guys. But I had a resilient arm. They knew I could get ready in the 7 pitches or 8 pitches that it took. I got 1 extra, and we were playing the Expos at the time, and their bench went nuts because the umpire miscounted, knowing that I hadn't been up in the pen.
How about that?
Marquise Grissom hit a just absolute laser to right field to Dave Justice right where he stood.
We saw a laser to end that last inning.
Oh my gosh.
Mike Trout 114.5. Almost took the glove off the hand of Marwin Gonzalez, but it was the last out of the inning. Here is Marwin. Preston, when a guy hits the ball right at you like that last out, Marwin was just kind of like, oof.
Yeah, he actually came in a little bit and it almost got him. When a guy hits a ball that hard and it's right at you, it's hard to judge the speed because you don't have a side view to give you a point of reference. The ball is just coming at you, so you really have to hold your ground to make sure what's going on. Sometimes you can make too good of a break on a ball like that, or too quick of a break, I should say. Just take your time and read it, see what's happening, and then make your move. There's nobody behind you out there now, feeling.
Well, and it's got to be pretty uncommon to see somebody hit a ball almost 115 miles an hour off the bat that you can actually make a play on.
Yeah, and it's head high. There's a lot that makes that play a lot tougher than others.
Yeah, that ball just absolutely doesn't drop whatsoever. It just keeps carrying. It's kind of like a 4-seam fastball.
Yeah, we used to call those frozen ropes.
Man, big time.
2 outs, nobody on. Here's Yuli Gurriel. Astros looking for their first hit since the 4th inning. Tyler White had the last hit of this game for Houston as Yuli sends one into shallow left. Justin Upton coming on. He will get there. 1-2-3 inning for Robles. Hey guys, nice job. Nice work giving us the outfielder and pitcher aspect of this game.
Lots of fun. Lots of fun tonight.
Great.
Talking to the 2 hitters.
Yeah,
I'm the odd guy out here.
Hey, I enjoyed it. It was good talking with you guys. It was kind of like us just kicking back, talking about a baseball game.
Believe it the way it should be. Good job, boys.
Way to go.
pitcher for Houston is Chris Davinsky.
Good to see Devo back off that DL. He was activated yesterday when Charlie Morton went on the DL. In 42 games this season, he has pitched in 38 2/3 innings pitched, 44 strikeouts in that time. Hopefully Devo is regrouped, healthy, and ready to make this stretch run in the Astros bullpen.
Yeah, and the good news for Charlie Morton is that even though he's on the DL, they fully expect him to make a start when he comes off the DL in 10 days. To be in that Boston series on the next road trip. So just a little fatigue for Charlie, and this time of year he was approaching his career high in both innings and games started. So the Astros figured it was a good time, if there was any fatigue, to give him a little extra breather here going into the final month of the season. The last thing you want Charlie to worry about is being tired come October, because he was such a big factor for the Astros, first pitcher ever to win 2 Game 7s in a postseason. Well, Devo with a 1-1 count, and now Justin Upton swings to the next pitch. It's 1-2. It's been a while since we've seen Devo, and to see him back on the mound. Devo will face Justin Upton and then Shohei Ohtani. Andrelton Simmons just misses 2-2. There is Shohei, who will start the game on Sunday for the Angels. Had a right UCL sprain that's kept him from pitching. He has been able to DH. A little more than a month for Devo without pitching for the Astros. 27th of July. And that was close. Doesn't get the call on the fastball. 3-2. Oh, he froze him on the change piece that catches the outside corner. Welcome back, Devo, with a strikeout to start this outing.
RBI Baseball 18 is available now. Manage your dream team in franchise mode, plus get weekly stats, roster updates, and more. Learn more at RBIGame.com. Rated E for everyone. The COD made it back.
Yeah. You know, left hamstring tightness for Devo, you want to get that right as Ohtani gets the ball into right center field. And he'll think about 2, but Springer cuts it off and makes a strong throw back in. But for both from a physical standpoint, a good breather for Davinsky, but also from a mental standpoint, because it was a rough month of July before he went on the DL.
Oh, yeah.
So I think just having that little break for him is probably not a bad thing going forward.
No, I agree. And it's amazing, too, how, you know, one little just nagging injury can lead to some mechanical issues for pitchers. Start to open up a little bit. Don't get that drive or that landing leg that you want to.
Here's Andrelton Simmons. He had the biggest hit of this game as he cleared the bases with a double his last time up. Gave the Angels a 4-0 lead. 2 for 3 tonight for Simmons. And a called strike. It's 1-1. Davinsky, the 4th pitcher of the night for the Astros. Justin Verlander started, Tony Sipp, Will Harris, and now Chris Davinsky. That's a 3-hit night for Simmons as he lines one past Carlos Correa into left field. Ohtani to second, back-to-back base hits by the Angels. It is time to name that Astro, brought to you by Nissan. Our clues tonight were Newport Beach, gold medal and first overall. And the Astro is Garrett Cole from Newport Beach, California, gold medal with Team USA, and picked by the Pirates as the first selection of the 2011 draft.
That is living pretty good right there. Newport Beach, first round pick. Arm that just absolutely brings all kinds of noise to get strikeouts.
Maldonado missed that pitch. That's not one he would normally miss. It was a slider.
But Martin Maldonado hasn't worked with Devo all that much.
Yep.
So he's getting used to Davinsky a little bit. But some of these pitches that we've seen from Davinsky in this ball game already have danced a little bit more than we're accustomed to. And that might be the conversation, is what signs are we going to do with runners at second base? And then the other one might be, I didn't realize you had that kind of wiffle ball movement on that kind of stuff. I'm ready.
I got your next one.
Yeah.
That'll be a pass ball charge to Martin. And Devo had some wicked movement on that slider, but that's still one that you would expect Maldonado would handle. But a good point, as you said, Devo just joining the team yesterday. Maldonado working with him for the first time. Francisco Arcia now will face the infield drawn in with a 1-0 count. Arcia a couple of strikeouts and a pop-up. Two and 0. Balk is called on Devo in that pickoff attempt to third. Can't do that anymore.
Yeah, the step off to third base no longer legal in this ball game moving forward.
Got to throw it.
Got to let it go. Can't just step that way. If you're going to step off, you got to step directly behind the rubber.
Now squeeze is on as Simmons coming down the line and Arcia fouls it away. Bregman certainly wasn't expecting it.
And that's probably why Devo held on to the ball.
So a pass ball and now a balk scoring the 5th run for the Angels. And the bunt is on. Somebody may have missed a sign. Simmons was coming down the line last time. This time he was not coming down the line, and Arcia turns and looks back and says, I thought I saw a squeeze. 2 outs.
Well, the Astros are gifted an out, but you don't see Simmons breaking that traditional suicide squeeze type situation. But I think in a 5-run lead, why bunt? Swing the bat. But it might have been a safety squeeze type situation. I'm not sure, but I'm with you in the fact that maybe the hitter saw something that he shouldn't have.
Here's Taylor Ward. Astros will take it. See if Davinsky can get this final out. Ward a double and a couple of strikeouts tonight. Astros did most of their damage early with all 5 of their hits in the first 4 innings. The Angels only had 1 hit through 4 and 2 hits through 5. But now after a 4-hit 6th inning, 3 more the last 2 innings, they lead this game 5-0 and are out hitting the Astros 9-5. Swing and a miss, got him with the changeup. Devo, a couple of strikeouts in the inning, but a run scores. It will be an unearned run.
Who's the Astros' most improved role player so far this season? Tyler White getting majority of the votes at 54%, but also Tony Kemp getting some love down there at 35%. Couldn't have gone wrong with either one of those guys, but I believe Tyler White doing a majority of his damage recently helped him out a little bit, but that's a pretty good 1-2 punch in White and Kemp coming up from AAA this season.
White winning the game yesterday in walk-off fashion, and the Angels will go to a new arm out of their bullpen. It's the local product, Justin Anderson.
Justin Anderson throws the hardest out of this bullpen for the Los Angeles Angels of Anaheim, averaging 97.5 miles an hour with his fastball. His changeup comes in at 94. 48 in a third innings, 61 strikeouts.
Anderson will face Josh Reddick, Martin Maldonado, and George Springer. Astros need some base runners, down 5-0. Anderson, 25-year-old from right here in Houston. To St. Pius High School and then University of Texas San Antonio. Made his big league debut earlier this season right here at Minute Maid Park in his hometown. Was back on April 24th, winning inning and a third of scoreless innings. And Reddick pops one up on the infield. Simmons puts it away for the first out. It's now 9 in a row and 11 out of 12 set down by Angels pitching since the single by Tyler White with 2 outs in the fourth. Tony Kemp, part of that Stroh poll. He will pinch hit here for Martin Maldonado. Maldonado goes 1 for 2 against his former team tonight. Changes on the corners defensively too for the Angels. Caleb Coward moves from first to third, and Jeffrey Marte takes over at first. There's Marte. You saw Coward. Two and 0 the count to Kemp. Thanks to Mike Stanton and Preston Wilson for being part of our broadcast today. Tried something different over the course of 150 broadcasts. Not all of them are going to be the exact same. We kind of mix it up every once in a while. And tonight we brought in Mike from the pre and post game show, and Preston, who will be filling in for Julia for the rest of this series. And then be a more active part of our broadcast. Kind of some different perspectives tonight.
It's always good. And that's the beauty of baseball too, is the conversations that you have while watching, because a lot of people are going to see it your way, and then there's going to be a lot that don't see it your way. But it's always good to get those different perspectives, and it kind of gives you an idea between Preston, myself, and Mike Stanton. Those are actual conversations that you might have in the dugout every once in a while. Talking about positioning, talking about, did you have your best stuff? What have you seen from this guy? What can I anticipate when I dig into the box? Or where should I play when you're coming after the next hitter? Do you have your best fastball? Should I play to the pull side? Those are conversations that you're able to have when you're on the field.
Hometown fans looking for something to cheer about tonight. They haven't had much to cheer about. Altuve reaching second back in the first inning, the only one to get into scoring position for the Astros tonight. And now Kemp draws a walk as Anderson issues a walk here with 1 out in the 8th. Join the Astros right here at Minute Maid Park. Saturday, 10,000 fans in attendance will receive an Alex Bregman walk-off win bobblehead. Presented by Nolan Ryan Beef. For tickets and info, visit astros.com/promotions. Here's George Springer. George 1 for 3. Check swing. Fouled right in front of our camera by the dugout.
It's a good thing Mike left early.
I'm telling you, that would have been right at him.
Yeah, I mean, the series before this against the Oakland A's, there were some exciting high run totals put up by the Astros in the first big win they had, and then a walk-off hit by Tyler White made things kind of exciting. I'd like to see something similar happen here. Or at least I know I would, because those 3 days off, you guys go out and rattle off the hits, the walk-offs,
right.
Have a lot of fun. There's going to be a lot of slang wangers on Twitter that are going to blame this output on me.
Mariners continue to tack on against the A's at 6-0. Anderson ahead of Springer 0-2, and George tries to hold up and does. The Yankees were starting a homestand here where they took on the White Sox for 3 and then the Tigers for 4 before heading to the West Coast, and the Yankees thought, hey, this could be a spot where we really make a move on Boston. Well, the Yankees lost 2 out of 3 to the White Sox, and then tonight Detroit scores 3 in the ninth to beat the Yankees at the stadium 8-7. So they've lost 3 out of 4 on this homestand. The two teams near the bottom of the standings in the American League. And a breaking ball misses inside. It's 2-2. Up the middle, Simmons will flip it, and what a nice play by Andrelton with the glove flip, and Fletcher able to make the turn.
Eating the Astros alive all year long, ending some big innings, but a nice glove flip and turn by Fletcher. To you by Toyota. Let's go places.
And by Jack in the Box. Try something different like Jack's Teriyaki Bowls for a limited time. AJ Hinch today before the game had his contract extended. He is signed through 2022 with the Houston Astros, so 4 years beyond this one. Astros trailing tonight 5-0 as we head to the 9th inning. Caleb Coward facing Chris Davinsky. Devo back for his 2nd inning of work. Coward, who was recalled at the end of July, now may see a few more at bats with Albert Pujols going on the DL. Tonight's been a tough one for Caleb as he is 0 for 3 with 3 strikeouts. Verlander got him twice and Will Harris got him the last time. Will ended up going an inning and 2/3 today, and Devo trying to go 2 innings as nobody warming up in the Astros bullpen. Well, before the game, AJ talked about the importance of staying here in the Houston area.
We are going to do everything we can to bring another championship. If you like that feeling in 2017, the goal is in this, certainly within this term and even within this season, is to feel it again. So, you know, their commitment to me, my commitment to here. I mean, this is home. This is where my daughters are going to graduate high school. This is this community we fell in love with living in Houston, Texas, and that was, you know, certainly my commitment back to the organization is I'm here to grind for the next 4 years and hopefully beyond, and be the manager of you know, what we hope to be the best era of Astros history.
Let's hope so. He's already the manager as he was introduced today by Jeff Luhnow. He's already the manager of the first world champion team, and they hope for 2 or 3 more, or the 2nd and 3rd at least. And when he first introduced AJ to the introductory press conference, he said this is going to be the manager of the first championship team here in Houston.
It's a bold strategy, and it paid off. Doesn't happen too often, but I think it was just a beautiful mix and a blend of the analytics of Jeff Luhnow coming over. And we heard it in that press conference too. Jeff went back to it and talked about the fact that what made AJ appealing was obviously the knowledge of the game, a little bit of experience in the dugout, but it was that experience in the front office that I think really helped him make the decision to go with AJ, because AJ can be that bridge between the front office and what's going on in that clubhouse.
And AJ has been called upon to extend those range of activities as a manager. He's obviously very comfortable with being the conduit between the analytics and his team, and then handles the media as well as any manager. Spoke to the crowd here coming back from Hurricane Harvey as kind of the voice of the Astros, and he has been tremendous through it all. You've been here longer than I have, but could not imagine a manager who is more suited to do what he does here with the Astros than AJ Hinch.
Absolutely. And he did his homework too before he's interviewed for other managerial jobs. I don't think that's any secret, but leading into that 2015 season, he knew that there might be an opportunity here in Houston. He did his homework. You know, he did his research investigating this roster, what could be the future roster, and he made the decision to be here. This is a great place to be. I can attest to that too, as you can. But he has really made his home here, and nothing says I want to be your manager for years to come by going out there and actually winning that World Series championship for the first time in franchise history.
Players were all in attendance today at the press conference. Here's David Fletcher. Fletcher pops one up on the infield. Yuli Gurriel waits for it and puts it away for out number 2. Devo so far in an inning and 2/3, 3 hits and an unearned run. He has struck out a couple in his return back to the big leagues for the first time in over a month. Now face Mike Trout. Trout walked his first time up, struck out his next time, singled, and laced a line out to left field. Trout coming into this game the leader in the American League in OPS at 1,083. But playing for a team that is below 500 this season, and with some good candidates on the Indians and the Red Sox, and Alex Bregman making some noise as well here in the last month or so. Tough to imagine Trout getting enough attention to win the MVP. Your numbers have to be so much better if you're on a team that does not make the postseason or does not play 500. And this year, with the JD Martinez and the Mookie Betts of the world, and the Lindors and Jose Ramirez in Cleveland, it doesn't seem like it's his year.
No, I completely agree with you on that. The next question is every year he's been in the big leagues, he's been in the top 5 in MVP voting. Will that even come true this year? That could be interesting, because you said Mookie Betts, JD Martinez, Jose Ramirez is going to get a ton of votes. Alex Bregman is playing himself into the conversation.
Still a month to go to settle it all out, but that will be interesting to watch as Trout takes one upstairs 2-2. Trout missing time this year, just activated less than a week ago from that wrist injury. Missed 15 games while he was gone. Ball's hit hard to center field, but Springer is there and makes the play, and we head to the bottom of the 9th. Angels lead 5-0.
Seventh inning on since 2017. The Astros have been very good. Saw a walk-off home run from Tyler White last night. These guys know what clutch is, and these are the numbers that give you an idea how they can attack bullpens and eventually, hopefully, run out some runs and win some ball games. 290 runs, 278 batting average. They are second in OPS, only 3 points behind the Oakland A's, and 3 home runs behind the Oakland A's as far as OPS and home runs in that 7th inning on. Looking to add to those numbers here in this ball game in the 9th inning. Or in the 8th inning, I apologize. Give him a couple more in the 9th inning. I was trying to give him more time.
Well, Mike Scioscia hasn't had much of an opportunity to use his closer lately. We mentioned they've lost 7 out of 8 games and 9 out of 11. So even though it's a 5-run game here, on comes Blake Parker with a dozen saves on the season.
High strikeout guy, 65 in 58 in the 3rd innings pitched.
Facing Alex Bregman, Jose Altuve, and Carlos Correa. Astros started the night 2.5 games ahead of Oakland in the AL West. The A's are trailing in their game in the bottom of the 4th inning, 7-0 to Seattle. Seattle came into tonight's play 8 games behind the Astros and 5.5 behind the A's for the wild card spot, the 2nd wild card spot. Earlier this year, the Mariners were trailing the Astros by 8 games, and their season was kind of on the brink, heading into a 4-game set at Minute Maid Park, and they swept the Astros in that series. And almost the same scenario now where they go to Oakland with time running out. They have to win, you would think, 3 out of 4. And they're off to a good start of the series tonight. Bregman rips one over the head of Andrelton Simmons, and the hitting streak is alive. Alex Bregman, an 11-game streak, as he picks up a base hit to start the ninth.
That's a start.
Also kept his on-base streak going. He's now reaching 27 straight games.
Fastball missed down. Pretty impressive job to get on the legs by Alex Bregman and actually get this up over the outstretched arm of Andrelton Simmons. Thought he timed it pretty good, but I think that ball was in a rush to get past him.
Astros with 6 hits now. That was their first hit since a Tyler White single back in the 4th. Here's Jose Altuve. Altuve pops one in the air to right. Cole Calhoun is there. And that's one away. And Altuve 2 for 4 tonight. Here's Carlos Correa. Correa 0 for 3, bounced into one of 3 double plays the Astros have hit into tonight. Two another count. George Springer, Alex Bregman, and Carlos Correa are the trio of hitters that hit into double plays tonight for the Astros. Now it's 3-0. All of a sudden you get a few base runners on. See what happens in this 5-0 game.
Here we go. Good time to hit. 3-1 count. Like to see that same fastball and see Carlos get the head out on one.
Into right field, sending Calhoun back on the edge of the track, makes the catch. And that's 2 outs in the ninth. Well, it continues to be a little bit of a battle for Carlos. 0 for 4 tonight. And that'll bring up Tyler White. Shark Attack was in full force yesterday. Starting to get some Tyler White fans at Minute Maid Park here. We saw somebody with a sign about being at the White House earlier tonight. Good to see him get some love. It's been quite a year for Tyler White, a breakout season. Bregman will take second. That'll be fielder's indifference. White took a pitch up and in. He thought it was up and in. It was called a strike. Tyler's OPS since the All-Star break, 11-13. On the season, OPS is still over 1,000 for the whole year.
That's impressive.
That is.
It's not easy to do. It's crazy right now. He's just on to try and salvage a shutout, get a base hit, drive Alex in, take that goose egg off the board.
5 singles and a seeing-eye double by Jose Altuve that hits tonight. Seeing-eye double because it glanced off both Taylor Ward and Andrelton Simmons on the left side of the infield, and Altuve hustled it into a double. You know, the 3 double plays tonight puts the Astros up to 133 on the year. There's a chance if they don't hit in any more double plays the rest of the year that they'll still lead Major League Baseball. That's how big the lead is.
Oh, no.
There's only 4.5 weeks left, and they're up by 23 on the next closest team. Unless Oakland or Cincinnati hits into double plays tonight.
Just a matter of time before A.J. Hinch puts on the hit and run every time a guy's at first base.
Just go.
Yeah, just run. Get thrown out stealing. Get it out of the way. Take away the double play opportunity.
It's been remarkable for this team to hit into so many double plays, and it seems like it's been worse since the All-Star break than going into the break. Tyler with a count of 3-1. Parker has not exactly been pinpoint here in this bottom of the 9th of a 5-run game.
Well, the luxury is he has a 5-run lead.
Got behind Correa 3-0. Now he's 3-1 on White. Even that first pitch that was called a strike to Tyler was close to being off the plate. There's a ball driven to left field. Hit well, looking up, and gone! Tyler White gives the Astros their first 2 runs of the game. Another home run for the Great White Shark. It's now 5-2.
He is feasting on some bullpens. That is 8 home runs out of his 11 home runs on the season that have been from the 7th inning on. Last night, a home run off a reliever for the Oakland A's in the 9th inning. This one in the 9th inning to salvage this ball game so far and keep it going. A 2-run home run puts the Astros on the board. The Meg.
Just clearing that yellow line above the visitors' bullpen as Tyler gives the Astros a couple of runs and prevents the shutout. Now it's a 5-2 game as Marwin bats. And he takes a strike. White now with 11 home runs and 27 RBIs in his last 28 games. And went 415 feet off the bat of Tyler White. Towards third and fielded there. Howard throw in time to retire Marwin Gonzalez, and that'll do it tonight. Astros avoid the shutout, but they lose this game 5-2. First game of this 4-game series, and now they'll watch to see how the A's do. Currently their lead is 2 games in the AL West. We'll have more, including the post-game show, coming up after this.